2, 1. What's the deal, everybody? It is C-Will back here with another video, and today I'm here with my boys, Keith and Mike. We're going to be watching the 2002 Pontiac Excitement 400 at Richmond. What's y'all's expectations for this race? Because I'm sure it'll be a wild one.
Well, I'm expecting a pretty good race. It looks like it's going to be the old Richmond when Richmond was actually good. So I am really excited for this, and it appears like it's a little wet at the track.
As you say that.
Oh, and the 19 just spun out. I think that's Mayfield.
Bruh.
Nice. Raining right on the warm-up laps.
Mayfield spinning out on the pace laps. How hilarious. Anyways, I'm really excited for this race. I feel like there's going to be a lot of really fun races. And a lot of good passing opportunities and a lot of wrecks.
Well, we'll see. Sorry, go ahead, Keith.
And it looks like the track is a little bit soggy, but let's see how this race is going to go.
Yeah, we'll see how the rain affects this race, and momentarily we'll have the starting lineup. And if y'all are the real G's, the viewers at home watching this, me and Mike reacted to a 2002 race earlier this year, the 2002 Aaron's 499, and in fact, the first ever reaction video we did on the NAS Boys channel was at Richmond. It was the 1992 Pontiac Excitement 400, so we'll see how different it was in 2002 than 10 years prior in 1992.
Yep. Yeah, and if you haven't watched it, go ahead and take a look at it. It was a great video.
Actually, I'm going to turn the sound on and
and trying to dry a track when it's only 50 degrees out, that's not easy.
Yeah, I'm amazed at how quickly this thing dried up. But again, it's because it's got a coat. It's got a coat on. It's got a coat of sealer on.
And you know, Mike and Daryl, we always get asked, why do they not have rain tires? Well, Goodyear has developed a rain tire for Winston Cup cars for the road courses where you turn right and left, but I don't think they've ever gotten comfortable like a lot of other series having a rain tire where you're turning left all the time, and that right front tire has so much load because the wear rate on a rain tire is much higher than on a slick tire because you don't have as much rubber on the ground.
Right, they're treaded, and when you make them soft enough to be able to adhere to the racetrack, they're not going to last but about 15 laps on one of these 3,400-pound cars. 3,400 pounds, 800 horsepower, rain tires, none of that goes together.
Well, about 2 hours ago, we had hoped to bring you the Castrol starting grid, so thanks for staying with us. Let's take you down through the way they'll line up tonight.
Music, copyright music. All right, here's start lineup.
Earnhardt in second, Warburton on the pole.
Kyle Petty starting sixth.
Steve Park too in row 3.
Matt Kenseth and Claude Labonte in row 4.
There's a lot of Fords in the top 10.
Ricky Craven. Ricky Rudd. Ryan Newman. God, look how young Ryan Newman was. Jerry Nadeau. Kind of underrated. Nemechek in row 8 and Labonte.
Nemechek in the 10. That's something I'm not used to. Mark Martin in the Viagra car. Steve Grissom in the 44.
Ken Schrader.
You know what's crazy? They had Ken Schrader and Elliott Sadler side by side, and Sadler will be in the 36th the next year. Johnson's way back.
In the 90. That's interesting. Johnson 26. That's insane.
Hermes Sadler.
In the 77.
Atwood. Nice.
Casey Atwood. Hutch Strickland.
Robbie Gordon has a long way to go if he wants to contend. Points leader Sterling Marlin's in the back too. Oh wow, Kurt Busch and Bill Elliott are way back also. Spencer Dale.
Shocking for those
Spencer Dale Jarrett.
Huh.
Well, it's Spencer, so I'm not surprised by him. Frank Kimmel, he was making a couple starts.
I don't know who Renfro is. I don't know. I've never heard of him.
I actually don't know either. I'm going to have to look that up after this race. All right.
Interesting
if he does.
Interesting thing to note with the 59 car actually was a USAR Hooters Pro Cup car that they were fielding for Randy in this event.
Well, great information there, Keith.
Let's go to Steve Burns.
Hey, Mike, as you said a minute ago, Rusty Wallace has 6 wins on this racetrack, and his numbers here are just flat amazing. At 36 starts, he's led 24 of those races for over 3,000 laps. A year ago, he led both races for exactly 276 laps. But you know what? He hasn't won here since 1997. And he said before the race, I don't care about all those laps led. I just want to win here tonight.
Thanks, Steve. These laps are considered pace laps, and they are not counting. They have not put the...
All right, let me know when you are there.
I'm there.
All right, let's start.
Not sure exactly how many laps we've run under this condition when they sent the cars off from pit road. These laps did not count, but they are burning fuel.
They count towards your fuel mileage. In here, 3/4 mile racetrack, we normally figure the 3-to-1 ratio. 3 caution or pace laps equal 1 green flag lap. Absolutely, you have to figure it into the equation.
One car came in and topped off. That was Randy Renfro, who was starting at the back anyway.
Well, that is the penalty for coming in and topping off. You have to go to the rear.
Where he already was.
Yeah, you cannot top off before the green flag.
In Jeff Gordon's pit, scoring monitor and FX TV monitor.
Now, we used to be able to top off before we took green, but they wanted to stop people from coming down pit road and doing that, so...
Hey, pace car off.
That's Saturday night. And in Richmond, Virginia. Let's go.
Be ready.
Boogity, boogity, boogity.
All right.
It is.
Hold your breath, guys. Everybody down in here nice and clean.
We're pulling away in an early lead.
Steve Parker here to come in second place. That's a big shit.
Maybe through turn 1 and 2, all clean.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Inside line, the one moving right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car, Budweiser car. He's trapped on the outside. He'd like to get down in front of Matt Kenseth before they get to turn 1.
Jeff Gordon's in the same boat. He's caught up on the outside. Can't get down either.
And Steve Park got a great jump from 5th to 2nd.
I'm thinking right now, I kind of want to go with
Clean start.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I know it's back in the pack, but Tony Stewart just put a big move on 3 or 4 cars getting down into turn 1. He was down on the apron.
But you heard Greg Cimpadelli, his crew chief, say we're going to be patiently aggressive. That's what you have to do at a short track. You have to be patient. But right now, Tony Stewart's in turn 1. The leader's going into turn 3. He's a half lap down already.
Gordon finally got in line, and now he'll start to work the inside and get somebody moved up out of the way.
They have Kyle Petty in the 45 kick to the high side, Jeff Green in the 30 car, Jerry Nadeau in the 25 car. He was fast in practice as well.
Ricky Craven cleared that group. He's now in the 7th position, right behind the number 12, Newman. You know, of all the multi-car teams that were here, the only multi-car team that qualified its cars close together was Penske, with Wallace 9th and Newman 12th. They're running nose to tail in the top 10, but the other multi-car teams have cars spread out all the way through the field.
And the Penske group was one of the few multi-car teams that both teams came here and tested. Ryan Newman and Rusty Wallace both tested.
Craven under Newman.
Craven's got a fast car. OTIDE looks pretty good tonight.
Craven up to 6th. You see him trying to chase the rear bumper of Rusty Wallace.
We're running 41st.
And this is not the car that Ricky Craven actually ran at Martinsville so well, but it is the car that he ran very well at Darlington and Rockingham, sitting on both the poles at those racetracks.
And that is a new paint job on there. Brian McNamara, the brand manager of Tide, told me that that's a trick paint job that they came up with. I kind of like it.
Terry Labonte underneath Kyle Petty. Kyle just can't seem to find a home in the low groove as now Mayfield slips underneath and brings Jeff Burton with him.
Yeah, he started in 6. He's all the way back to 13, kicked on the high side. He just can't get to the bottom. Kevin Harvick in the 29 car goes by.
Yeah, Kyle's got to be so careful. It's tempting to cut down in front of somebody, but if you watch last night's race, you do not want to try that.
You heard the spotter say clear behind the 29 car. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah, give me a number.
And Harvick's coming. He started 23rd. He is up to 16th. Ward Burton, the pole sitter, has led all the 10 laps so far. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has moved into 2nd ahead of his teammate Steve Park. And Jeff Burton has come from 21st position Burton is up to 14.
I'm really impressed with the job everybody did, getting this thing off, getting going here, and everybody's really using a lot of courtesy.
Yeah, what a difference a day makes.
Oh yeah, they saw last night's race.
Nice effort by Burton so far.
Only 12 laps in, so that's a very good job.
Harvick and Burton have worked their way up from the mid-20s into the mid-teens, and Kyle Petty, drifting back now, finds a place in line, Dick Berggren.
Teammate.
Now, started sixth right now. He's deep in the field about mid-pack, Mike, and part of his problem was getting caught on the outside. The rest of the problem was he had to use his brakes a lot, and they are not working according to the way he'd like them to work. This is, according to some of the drivers, the toughest track on brakes. It's not the toughest, it's the second toughest. This guy, car 45, Kyle Petty, having problems with his brakes.
Now, Larry, you know, when it's damp like this, brake fluid will pick up moisture, and sometimes when the car's set for a while, that brake fluid will get moisture in it, and it'll cause your brakes to fade.
Yeah, because moisture turns into air, and that's not good for a brake system. And you definitely use more brake getting in the corner here than we do at Martinsville. I know we go to Martinsville, we think about brakes, but you're in such a high rate of speed, and you don't have as low a gear to slow you down. Matt Yoakum, what else is going on with brakes?
Well, Larry, talking about brakes, I was speaking with Jason Shapiro, who is the brake specialist for Tony Stewart. He was commenting on, you could see how many cars as they enter turn one are hard on their brakes, the brake rotors are glowing, and it goes back to what Tommy Baldwin told his driver right before the green. Look at this race, it's a 200-lap race. Anything after that is bonus coverage.
Thanks, Matt. Matt Kenseth has moved to third, displacing Steve Park. Rusty Wallace, here's your leader, Ward Burton. He's led every lap so far in that cat dog.
So that is a quick ute. Well, 16 laps in, what's y'all's thoughts?
Very, very interesting race.
Richmond.
Burton from South Boston, winning the pole in this new car, the first in-house short track car, in-house chassis built at Bill Davis Racing. And Randy Renfro is slowing on the backstretch.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
That car looks like it's got like the carburetor is flooding over on it or something. There's that black smoke pouring out the pipe. Can you believe a caution for no accident?
First time this weekend?
First time all
No, second time. We had a debris caution last night.
Gosh.
We'd had so many wreck cautions, we had to be debris.
Daryl, I think we'll see most of the leaders stay out, but I think the guys at the back of the pack, good chance for them to get 4 tires. Plus, if your car's not handling good chance to get 4 tires and make adjustment. This guy right here, Tony Stewart, he was only 6 seconds from going a lap down back in 32nd position.
And now is when I like to get out of sequence. Ooh, this is a great opportunity. Get out of sequence.
Well, our leader, Ward Burton, his crew chief, Tommy Baldwin, the king of short pitting, but this would be short pitting.
But I think, again, if you're at the back of the pack, like Daryl said, come in and get those 4 fresh tires. Your hopes would be then, in another 15 or 20 laps, you get another caution, and that would put you off sequence.
Yes.
We see back of the field starting to hit pit road, about the back 10 cars.
Music. But yeah, Kurt Busch did have some good runs in 2002, though, to be fair.
Yeah, he did. He wasn't bad in his entire campaign. He just had some really rough moments.
International Raceway, Pontiac Excitement 428 laps down. Caution out for Randy Renfro, stopped on the backstretch. And other pit stops, John Andretti, Dale Jarrett, Bobby Hamilton, and Hermie Sadler.
A total of 14 cars.
Steve Burns.
Mike, we've been listening to Jeff Gordon talk to crew chief Robbie Loomis. He says the car is loose getting in, tight from the middle off, but he's a little concerned about feeling a vibration in the brakes. Dick Berggren.
Matt Kenseth has gone from 7th to 3rd since the drop of the green flag. His problem is under the hood. He said the throttling doesn't feel right to him. He can't pick up the throttle the way he wants to. To Matt.
Dick, Tony Stewart gave up the 32nd position. Not a bad move at all because his car was tight up off the corner. He said it was just killing him on exit. They made a track bar and wedge adjustment. Greg Zappinelli banking on pitting now, kind of short pitting for track position later when the leaders have to pit.
And after pit stops, he's 32nd.
Yeah, and that brake vibration, that's just like in your passenger car. When you stand on the brakes a little too hard, you'll get some buildup from the pads on the rotor, and then when you put the brake on next time, it wants to vibrate. It'll shake the pedal and you foot. That can get to be a problem.
I can't even read it. Whoever's
How about we stand on the volume control?
I got mine turned up.
How about 34,000 horsepower? Let's crank it up.
I just want to see the metal airlines. All these kids in the metal drivers here. That Kenseth looking by him. He's looking fast, Christian.
Yeah, he is. How about Jeff Green in the top 5?
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Well, they're not talking. You have to give us time.
Crank it up before the NASCAR.
To be fair, they had to crank it up. They just didn't make it crank it up.
Earnhardt Jr. gets underneath Matt Kenseth, and that's second place.
Yeah, he was all over the back of Kenseth, and Rusty and Junior both was. Whoa, yeah. Kenseth was holding those guys up, and man, they put a hammering on him.
I think actually Steve Park and Kenseth, Steve in the one car, they got together down there in 1 and 2 just for a second.
They're both black and yellow. How can you tell?
They look like one there for a second.
They're going to be black and blue if they keep this up.
Right now they have Ryan Newman in the 12 car. They have him kicked on the high side. The line of about looks like about 8 cars trying to get underneath him.
Yeah.
Hear that train whistle again.
Yeah, and what happened now, see, everybody's had a few laps here. They've kind of settled in. They got their game face on now. They're starting to play a little rough. Time to go. Crew chief's got on and say, look, can't lollygag around like that anymore. Got to go.
Whoa. Just ahead of this, Jeff Green under Steve Park. And
boy, Kenseth is just, he's going to get spun out.
I believe those boys did get together just a little bit. Steve Park in the 1, Matt Kenseth in the 17.
Man, it's battle isn't over with yet. I don't know.
Steve Parker's car was as fast, so it kind of jinxed him a little
Jeff
bit.
Gordon on the high side.
Well, then again, how do I jinx him?
Kenseth's just trying to get back in line.
You know, Darrell, I think if we get a few laps under our belt on this racetrack, I think that second groove will come in. I mean, we saw 2 and 3 grooves being used at both races here last year.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be up against the wall like we've seen them here a few times, but they could get enough to where they could pass anyway. That's all you really hope for, so you can pass.
Look at what Matt Kenseth has been through since they dropped the flag for the restart. First, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Whoops. Next, Jeff Gordon.
That was loose.
Well, I tell you, he just kind of, he can't go.
Terry Labonte by him.
They're going to bump him right onto the rear the way they're going.
Somebody to watch tonight, Darrell. Jeff Green powered his way up to 4th place.
Well, you know, he ran a little bit of the Busch race last night. He didn't get to run a lot of it, but he did run probably enough to maybe make some good adjustments on his car.
Yeah, he started back in 14th, so he's definitely on the move. He actually ran the Winston Cup race here in September in that 30 car, one of the few races he ran last year for Richard Childress Racing.
He's come to 4th and is chasing down Rusty Wallace. Meanwhile, Steve Park sits in 5th spot. Let's go to his pit.
Mike, Steve Park is fighting a push from the center off. The crew chief, Paul Andrews, said, Steve, your car has insurance. I added air pressure in the left rear and put wedge in before we started. This will help the car come in, but it'll come in gradually.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, I'm getting passed by everybody out here.
Darrell, it's got to be hard when that crew chief says, be patient.
Oh, yeah, and you got people banging into your back bumper.
And driving underneath you.
They're all around you like bees, and they're swatting at them, and crew chief tells you to be patient.
I mean, you see by the Fox tracks right here that he continues to lose ground to our leader right now, Ward Burton. Here's the miles per hour. This is driving off into turn 3, up about 133 miles an hour, right at about 95 miles an hour in the middle of 3 and 4. We're going to see more miles per hour on the front stretch because it's about 400 feet longer. You're in the gas a lot longer. About mid-140s getting into turn 1.
Yeah, you'll probably turn 300 or 400 more RPM going down into turn 1 than you will up that little short back straightaway.
Ward Burton, it's only the second time he's ever led a race at Richmond. It's the 7th race, though, that he has led this year.
Well, I watched him in practice in happy hour, and, you know, other than Johnny Benson, he was the second fastest car, and he was zinging by people out there in happy hour about like he was here to race tonight.
And I don't mean to say it's easy out there where he is. I mean, right now he's about a 2 4-second lead. But if we stay green and we run another 15 or 20 laps, when it becomes tough, Darrell, and you have to use patience, is when you catch the back of the field. We got a battle for second right here, battle for third. Jeff Green in the 30 and Rusty in the 2 car.
Yeah, you were talking about Green. I just wanted you to know that Green just made a pass.
Now he's 4.2 seconds off the lead. As you see what that looks like to Ward Burton, the race leader.
Wow, that's a big gap.
Down here entering turn 1. Ward Burton.
Well,
more coming today.
45 laps in. But Bonnie's been top 10 the whole race.
Ward Burton well out in front. At 52 laps, he is just smoking the field.
Yeah, well, if it was Sunday afternoon, you could say he was cruising on a Sunday afternoon, but he's having a pretty good Saturday night ride here.
And, you know, Tommy Baldwin, his crew chief, told me on Friday, this brand new race car, untested, Bill Davis Racing, a lot like other of the major race teams starting to build their own chassis. This is an in-house chassis.
Moments ago, Matt Kenseth, Steve Park again, and Jerry Nadeau smokes it up.
Steve Grissom got up out of the groove off a 2 over there and just now, and I don't know if he got in the fence or not. He got mighty close.
The real downside when you start banging wheels like that is knocking one of those valve stems off and having a flat tire. You don't run the safety line or the inner shield here because it's basically considered a short track.
And this is about how much patience that some of these guys got. 50 laps. They're out of patience.
Looking back from Kenny Schrader. Teammates pacing 4th and 5th.
Anybody working a top groove yet? No, everybody's single file on the bottom. Now I want to know if anybody's working a top groove yet. It's pretty much single file right.
No, and that's a veteran like Rusty who runs well here, has won here, led a lot of laps. I think he probably wishes that top groove had come in. His car needs to move up some because he gets a little high off turn 4 every other lap.
I mean, yeah.
He'll depend on his spotter and crew chief to tell him when someone starts working the high groove and if it's working for them.
So far, I haven't seen anybody venture up.
No, Matt Kenseth now has dropped back to 9th place. Dick Berggren?
Well, Matt had worked his way up to 2nd spot. Then he got pushed around by a bunch of other cars. Wound up at 12th, worked his way up to 9th. Crew Chief Robbie Reiser, what's going on with your race car?
We're doing all right. We just got punted around a little bit on the restart there and got knocked out of the groove. And when he first could get back in line, he was back in about 12th. So he's working his way back now.
All right. Kenseth's car is okay. He's on his way back up to the front.
As you can tell, it's as loud down there as it is chilly here at Richmond.
That would bring so much insight. That would bring so much insight.
There's sprinkles on the glass here. We've completed 58 of 400 laps.
Boy, and I tell you, this little bit of rain, if we get a caution here, it's good news for some of these guys that are back in the field because closing in up in a hurry. Ward Burton set a blistering pace.
And I mean, Kyle Petty is one of them that started back in 6th. He's about 2 seconds from being lapped.
Jeff Green is running this race like it's a 100-lap Saturday night feature. He has just bombed his way right up into 2nd place.
And we've talked about it already a couple of times, Darrell and Mike. I just feel like that what little feedback those guys that ran the Busch race, Jeff Green didn't run a lot of it, but I think he ran enough that he learned something, was able to convey it to his crew chief, Todd Barrier, make that car better for tonight. Steve Burns.
Hey, Larry Mack, Jeff Green just told Todd Barrier the race car, as caution comes out, the race car is very good in turns 3 and 4, but rain's starting to come out now.
The key will be, can we keep the heat in the racetrack and keep this water from accumulating and turning that gray asphalt to black, to shiny black, which would indicate that we've lost the racetrack.
Well, the problem is that the cars are running single file. If we could get some cars running side by side, we get that vortex working better. But this single file racing is just not creating enough vortex to get the clouds lifted out.
Now, I think there's no question those cars at the front of the pack that did not pit the first time on lap 24, they'll come to the pits. I mean, because we're not going to run no 140 laps of caution should it continue to rain. So go ahead, come in, get your 4 tires, make your adjustments. But you have to be careful. As we noted, pit road still is damp. It's not completely dry.
Well, now some of these guys like Tony Stewart and others that pitted the last caution, they'll probably stay out.
But most of the field is coming to pit road.
And those guys have about 30 laps on their tires. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if most of them comes to pit road. Tony Stewart, that group, they are coming to pit road. Looks like basically Dale Jarrett, what he'll try to do is maybe at least stay out and lead a lap and get 5 bonus points.
I think his game plan was to stay out, Dick.
Now, Matt Kenseth is pitting for 4 tires and 2 cans of fuel. They're going to make a track bar adjustment to try to make the chassis a little bit better. The Steepers.
Next up, Jeff Green in. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment. Half a pound out of the left rear on the 34 tires, and his service is done.
Sterling Marlin bumped a member of Robbie Gordon's crew, knocked him off his feet, but the crewman was quickly back on his feet and completed the pit stop. Very close quarters there.
It appears that only 5 cars actually stayed out. Dale Jarrett, Michael Waltrip, Hermie Sadler, Bobby Hamilton, and Frank Kimmel. Again, they all pitted back about 30 laps ago. Looks like Hermie Sadler, no, too. He's going to come to pit road now, so that leaves only 4 cars that didn't pit. Only car out of the race, Randy Renfro, retired his car after bringing the caution out back on lap 24.
Well, and Dale Jarrett started 39, so this is what he planned. You know, he came in on that first one. Now he's got track position. Now he can race. From here on, he's even with everybody.
Matt?
Well, down here in the 22 pit of Ward Burton, no adjustments in the 22 car. He mentioned the Tommy Baldwin under the caution. The car was just a little more free than he would like, but the car is fast. Meanwhile, on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Budweiser number 8, they made a wedge adjustment. His car was great on entry, great up off the corner, but it was just a little too tight.
Just a light shower falling, but that's enough to keep us from going back to green.
And as far as the cars that pitted, Rusty Wallace, that 2 group, they won the battle off pit road, but he'll actually restart the race in 5th. Ward Burton, they came out 3rd out of the pits, but he'll have to restart in 7th.
So pit stops complete under this second.
Well,
I wonder where he was before he pitted there.
well, the cars go on the pit
Where
road.
the field has been brought down pit here.
Yeah, so they moved the race to the next day because apparently it must have rained too hard.
FX.
And I can't play that because of copyright music. So, yeah, it's now the next day, which I would assume they mentioned Saturday earlier in the
Sunday,
yeah. So I guess this is a Sunday.
We're back by popular demand. It's a great way to kickstart your...
How long does this music play for? Yeah, I can't play that either.
We got this like Karate Kid sequence right now.
What is this skit?
Is that Kurt Busch?
What is this? Was that Jimmy?
That.
Jeff Green?
Oh, I got an ad. Me too.
That's funny.
That was one of the weirdest skits I have ever seen.
They had Rusty Walls there too. I have ad block. By the way.
Jeff Green, Kung Fu Muscles.
Let's just skip ahead to 143, 48.
Cold, for 14 hours in these cold temperatures can make a big difference if you don't get heat in them.
One of the things I always worry about as a driver is that we said that these cars are hot, the brakes are really hot. You pull them down here with the moisture, the rain and everything, and cover them up. You can have a brake problem because you get moisture in your brake fluid. You can have a lot of problems because all those hot pieces sweat. Once you cover that car up and the temperatures drop, they sweat and it gets liquid in your fluids. So I'd be a little concerned about that.
No offense. Don't cancel me.
I mean, you've had 14 hours to think about a lot of things that, you can worry about. Bottom line is probably won't be a problem anyway. What's that old saying about 80% of what you worry about never happens? So I don't know. I heard that on the Discovery Channel. No, I think it may have been the food channel.
Did you know it's the Weather Channel's 20th birthday?
Happy birthday, Weather 20th birthday was that day. So
all right, 2 laps we're going to go racing.
Channel is now 40 years old.
Yep.
Gotta wish my son Scott happy birthday. He's 3.
Birthday for him.
So one of several parties that will be missed on Lake Norman this afternoon.
And my buddy Rooster.
I wish I could be there.
See if
My buddy Rooster. He didn't have FX in his room last night. Guess what he did? 1-800-FX. He wanted it in that room today.
This Richmond, I like.
I don't know. I hadn't heard from him yet.
Richmond,
We'll send him a tape.
That's what Stevie said.
I can agree with that statement.
Kenson's back on the pit road.
Coming to one. We're on one to go right now, guys.
Now, what is Kenseth doing?
Very often.
Now, Kenseth had to come back to pit road because he pitted before pit road was open. So this will just have the effect of putting him in the
Here goes my pick. There we
Guys,
go.
I know it's
a new day.
It's a new day. It's sunny. The sun is shining, and I don't know about I don't know about you guys, but I know there's about 100,000 people out here that are ready for us. They go boogity, boogity, boogity. Green. Mikey's all over the back of that 88. He wants to make a run on it.
Jimmy Spencer got Ward Burton for 6th going into turn 1, and Burton's trying to get him back in 3.
Well, Spencer drove that thing down in there and it washed up. Ward Burton's going to get the position away. You can definitely overdrive the entrance to these corners.
Now, if you wasn't racing, you'd go out and you'd run a few slow laps, get up to speed. But here, you got to go right down. There goes Mikey right by the 88.
And I tell you, Jimmy Spencer in the 41, he's almost made 2 positions in that second group through 1 and 2 there. Let's see what he does down in 3 and 4.
DJ is not very good right now, and that's going to hold him up, and that's really going to cost him.
Jared's falling back like a rock on the outside lane.
Ward Burton wants to make it 3 wide going down into turn 1, and please don't do that.
3 wide will work down the front straightaway. It will not work getting into turn 1.
Isn't it amazing? I mean, it's just like you flip a switch and it's right back where we were last night, just in one lap.
Everything but the light switch.
That's it.
And I believe definitely Jimmy Spencer's car will work right there in the second group, but DJ in the 88 car, UPS car, is holding him up. They're going to be 3 wide here with Ward Burton getting into turn 1. Gotta give boys.
And DJ did. And Ward scoots through underneath Spencer and starts marching back to the front where he spent the first 60 laps last night.
Well, Friday night, Spencer had a great Busch car here. And,
Jeff Green gets in the back of the 2 car, Rusty Wallace.
If you're not going to go, get out of the way. This ain't no time to be holding anybody up.
Well, Jeff had to go or Ward Burton was going to get him.
And let's go to the Busch race Friday night. Jimmy Spencer, one of those guys that ran that race, he was probably the only Busch car that could go in that second group.
Actually, he had a Busch car that could run in any group, and it looks like he's got a good car today.
Yeah, that James Finch car could have run around the parking lot and won that race Friday night.
And the thing about those guys now, they did all their practicing in the daylight, in the sunlight. The Busch guys did. So this is probably working really good for Spence.
Now they have Rusty Wallace in the 2 car. They have him kicked up to the high side. Jeff Gordon in the 3. Jeff Burton in the 99. They're going to take the position away from him.
Jeff Green for 2nd. Another driver ran the Busch race, Darrell, and practiced his Busch car in the daytime. And Green was up to 2nd. Ward Burton now 3rd. Michael Waltrip, Jimmy Spencer, Sterling Marlin.
The guys are a whole lot more aggressive today than they were last night. I mean, they know they got a whole race to run now. Last night they were just trying to race the rain. Everybody's kind of getting after it right now. There's a lot of beating and banging going on back here, a little pushing and shoving.
I think when we started that race last night, there were some drivers that were concerned, was the track even ready to race on? Was it completely dry?
You may not believe us or not, but you can see better. I know we got great lighting, but it gives you a deception. There's a deceptive look to the track when it's under light. You can see better. Now you know where you want to go. You can see that outside groove if it looks like you can get up there and go in it.
Darrell, about 10 laps, and Ward Burton's going to be leading this race again.
Well, he was bad to the bone last night.
Yeah.
And he's back after it again today, and he's got tires. He's set to go. He's looking good for the long haul. He just needs to be patient.
Right here for 7th, Jeff Burton and Jeff Gordon. And Ricky Rudd's going to follow Jeff Burton through as well. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car, he's going to follow through. We got a battle for the leads up here, guys. Jeff Green in that 30 car, pulling Ward Burton in the 22 by Bobby Hamilton in the 55.
Remember, Hamilton did not stop for tires under the caution. Green and Burton did.
Good laps right there. You're moving 3rd place car.
Boy, Michael's got a problem. I think he's got a tire down.
No.
He just dropped off the pace down the back. Right rear tire.
I got a flat tire.
Heard him tell him he thought he had a flat tire.
Another of the 4 cars that
He looks like he's got a right rear flat.
Oh man, and you can't get out, and it's going to cause a heck. People going everywhere back
Look at all
there.
that traffic.
Well, they are bottlenecking up behind him and getting into turn 3. He's going to make it to pit road.
Yeah, Elliott's oh boy, that's his Nerf bar out from under his rear bumper. It's a little small piece of tubing, but that could come off and be dangerous.
It's what support that goes behind the rear bumper.
It actually goes up in behind the rear bumper.
show you again here. Michael Waltrip trying to control a car with a flat tire.
Well, he goes down into turn 1 there. I saw him, and he gets all of a sudden he goes loose on him, and he chases it up the hill. Right there, I think he figures he just got up out of the groove, but he had a flat right rear tire.
I don't know what was like
behind
anymore,
him.
Keith's internet
Big
or
time.
Michael Waltrip's car.
And Bill Elliott's going to have to come to pit road.
Yeah, as bad as I hate to say it, they need to get that car in because that piece of metal had. I think it probably flew off.
Caution is on the speedway. The debris. It's probably you can see it. We know what the debris is. But that's quite a break for Bill Elliott, especially with nobody getting into it because now he can pit under caution or he probably won't even have to pit.
I don't know why they bring him in now.
What a bad break for Michael Waltrip because he's actually going to go 2 laps down.
Here's a look at it.
There's a look at it, and everybody's looking at it. Several cars run over it. It's not very big, Larry. What is that, about a 3/4-inch piece of pipe that they put up in the rear bumper?
It's just something to give the rear bumper a little bit of support as somebody's beating and banging on it. Of course, the rear bumper is made out of fiberglass or a hard plastic.
Way faster than at nighttime, in my opinion. Or am I tripping?
There it is.
See the 44 car? Oh boy, look at there, right over the windshield. The 31 car, Robbie Gordon. Remember, these are plastic Lexan windshields, so you don't have to worry about it cracking the windshield. I don't know who's going to pit here. I would have to believe Dale Jarrett might be on pit road. He restarted this race leading. He fell back to 20th. He's on pit road along with Jeremy Mayfield, Steve Park, Mike Skinner, Jerry Nadeau, Bill Elliott, Steve Grissom. A lot of the cars at the back of the pack coming to pit road.
Yeah, Kenny Schrader, Elliott Sadler, Robbie Gordon's in, Ricky Craven, Kyle Petty, Joe Nemechek, Stacy Compton, and Bernie Satter. Dick?
Now Dale Jarrett's going to take 4 tires on, throw 2 cans of gas in the thing. A minor chassis adjustment to the automobile. Car is much better now than it had been at the start of the race last night, which seems like an eternity ago.
I meant to ask
there's probably a lot of people that were here last night that don't know that we didn't.
How many
that we didn't race
y'all
last night.
predict?
I think it's just a long race.
The 24 Hours of Richmond continues on FX after this.
Based on the amount of cautions we've had already, plus ones I could see happening later on.
Lap 93, Ward Burton takes off from Jeff Green and the rest of his field. Matt Kenseth and Michael Waltrip were trying to get laps back from the leader without success.
Yeah, I mean,
Jimmy Spencer now
reasonable.
third with Sterling Marlin, his Ganassi Racing teammate, right behind him. Then Jeff Burton, Ricky Rudd, and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Wow, what a lot of
We had 17 of our cars pit on that caution, mainly cars that were at the back of the field.
They're not messing around here. They're trying their best to get around.
I think Michael's a good indication of he took tires, and he's not as good as the guys that didn't take tires.
Well, that's off the racing surface.
Those tires don't come right in, and he's in trouble back there.
Got spring rubber down on the apron as the racetrack.
That ain't out of harm's way.
You're not beer on the track.
Then it hurts something.
Now, Bill Elliott lost that bumper reinforcement, and you saw it bounce up off over Steve Grissom's car here and into Robbie Gordon's windshield. Pow!
Look at that. What did it stick in there?
It actually did. It put a hole in it. Again, that's Lexan. What they did, they took a piece of clear tape. They call it helicopter tape. It's what you put maybe on the front of your motorhome or your truck or your car to protect the front end and sealed that hole right up on that windshield.
That's the beauty part about having Lexan in the windshield go. Might have been a standard windshield like in a passenger car. It just shattered it.
Coming up on quarter distance, and as he did in the long green flag run last night, Ward Burton is doing a disappearing act.
I'm telling you, he's just checking out. I mean, that car just looks pretty good. I'm telling you, it looked awesome last night. He's picking up right where he left off, right, Matt?
You're exactly right, EW, and that was a major concern for his crew chief, Tommy Baldwin Jr. in the daytime. Tommy, that car looks like it's picked up from where it left off last night.
Yeah, we were really concerned about being back at, losing a little track position, but, car stuck on the bottom past all them guys. I think all it did was help Ward's confidence a little bit right now. I think we just got to start pulling the reins back a little bit, if anything. But real proud of the guys. Brand new race car, like we said last night, and everything's so far so good.
Up until 1999, Ward Burton had never led a lap here at Richmond. Believe it or not, he's never scored a top 5 finish. If this car holds true, he can pick that one this afternoon. To Steve Burns.
Matt State Park restarted this race 24th. He was one of the 17 drivers who pitted. They made a track bar adjustment, went up one turn, changed 4 tires, but they had a lug nut fall off one of the left tires, left wheels rather, cost him 4 positions on pit road, currently being shown 35th.
Now that's something, Larry, that could happen. They glue those nuts up on those wheels. They could have done that last night. That glue gets too dry, too hard. When you hit that wheel up against those lug studs, they'll pop one of those nuts off. So might be a product of the things laying there all night.
Yeah, I mean, the glue they use is a weather strip adhesive. It's made about 3M. It's a yellow glue, and normally about 3 to 4 hours is what you want. You don't want that glue to become hard. You want it just to become tacky.
I don't know why it won't stick to the lug nut. It sticks to your fingers forever.
But yeah, the 2 best cars from last night right now are the 2 best cars today. Ward Burton in the 22, Jeff Green in the 30. That was by far the 2 best cars last night.
And I don't know, but my experience has been when my car's good, it's pretty hard to mess it up. You can put tires on, you can do about anything you want to it. It's just good, and there's nothing you can do to hurt it. And when it's bad, sometimes there's nothing you can do to help it.
Our serial scoring brought to you by Rent-A-Center shows you how Jimmy Spencer's night and day as Mr. Excitement has gone from 30th at lap 20 up to 3rd place right now.
Yeah, I think he's settled in right there. I think he's pretty happy. He's kind of in a little zone all by himself. Be a good place to ride for a while. Sterling's getting a challenge from Jeff Burton.
That's 4th place.
Ricky Rudd, the 28 car, he was trying to get up in there as well, but Sterling slips back in line before Ricky Rudd can get up that left rear quarter panel.
All right, Darrell, who would you rather have behind you, your teammate or your brother?
Well, it'd be good if my teammate was my brother. I guess I don't know. I tell you, it's been my experience that guys don't pay much attention to who's in that car. They just, the next car you got to pass.
Well, Jimmy Spencer just overdrove turn 3, and way up the racetrack, Jeff Burton in the 99 pulled right up to his rear bumper and brought Sterling Marlin and Ricky Rudd with him. Jeff Hammond, what's going on down there at the Hollywood Hotel?
Well, I thought I'd let you guys know. I talked to Jeff Burton this morning. I was asking about his car and what he thought about the weather conditions. And he said, man, I'm telling you right now, I really think I've got a great race car. I said, well, can you run with your brother? He said, if I can work my way through traffic without knocking the front fenders off his car, I can outrun my brother. That's a pretty strong statement, as good as Ward looks here today.
Well, he's backing it up right now, Jeff, because he is all over the back of Spencer, and he's getting up off of 2 really good. Michael's in trouble again, guys.
Brett Bodine got in the back of him, Darrell, and sent him up the hill at turn 2.
He's getting punted around all over the place.
And you see Kurt Busch in the midst of that pack. Kurt Busch had a little brush with the concrete here.
Well, he had a pretty good brush because that right side of that car is pancaked.
And this is his backup car. He wrecked his primary car almost right out of the truck on Friday before qualifying.
Here's a look at it.
I tell you, this is pretty hard lick. Looked to me like just judging by the side of his car. Yeah, bounced off there pretty good.
And Darrell, what happened? You carry a lot of speed off turn 2, and it's almost like the racetrack turns too quick. It's like it should go on out a little bit, and you're just carrying so much momentum, you're just getting to the outside wall of that right side.
It's holding you, and then it just dumps you all at once, and the back end will hop out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do it every time. You'll be coming through there one time, the wheels turn left, wide open, and the throttle feels good. Next time you come through there, wheels turn left, wide open, hit the fence. Tony Stewart here looks like he's just kind of riding along. Him and Bobby Labonte both. They don't look like they don't look all that good right now.
But remember, these 2 cars, Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart, they had to start at the rear of the field because of changing motors. Qualified up the front. Matt, what's going on with Tony Stewart?
Larry Mack, Tony Stewart restarted from the 25th position today. He came here and tested. His car was extremely fast off the truck, but what Greg Zipadelli and the Home Depot crew did, they made their car react poorly so they will know how to adjust it back to where Tony liked it, the comfort zone, so to speak. Last night, his car was extremely tight in the center of the corner. 2 pit stops to try to adjust on that Pontiac. But the second stop, they never really got a good run to see how their last adjustments did to the race car. Tony reported in today the car is much, much better today, currently riding in the 17th position.
Yeah, he's got some damage on the whole right side of that car, like he got into somebody. Right front fender shoved in. Probably, yeah, you can see the nose is beating. I mean, he's got quite a bit of damage to the car. The nose, the right side.
And then we think that may have happened when Michael Waltrip was trying to get to pit road with that flat tire. I mean, there was a lot of cars stacked up behind him.
Did you see that, Mike?
Yeah, Jeff Gordon just put one on Junior going into turn number 3 and squirreled him up the racetrack. It did not change the position, however.
Oh, but it will, because Junior will say, now don't do that anymore, because I'll let you go if you quit doing that.
This is a battle for 8th.
Meanwhile, Ricky Rudd has moved up to 5th.
Junior goes up the hill, and that's what you do. You kind of let a guy know you're there. You don't wreck him. You just let him know you're there. And then if he's smart, he'll move up the hill, and he might just give you a little nerf back to say, I didn't appreciate that.
But he can't stay up that hill, or he'll lose more than that one position.
See, one thing that makes this track tough is for a car to be good in 3 and 4, it's way too tight in 1 and 2. The way you come off turn 4 and the track opens up is what your car's got to be tight. You get over to turn 2, you don't want it to be tight. You want it to turn. You push it loose over there, and that's why they jump sideways the way they do.
It's not going to be many laps, though. Ward Burton, our leader, in the 22 car, he's going to be in the lap traffic, and that's going to be exactly what Jeff Green is going to be looking for.
Jeff can't play that because it's music. Well, 117 laps in, and not a lot of changes in the top 10 for sure.
Yeah. Jimmy Spencer's running 3rd place. It's very interesting.
Yeah, Spencer didn't have a bad 2002 season. I know there's some races
Matt
where he had a chance.
Pass leader Ward Burton to get one of his laps back, but Burton is now starting to move down lapped cars.
And I got to tell you, if Ward Burton will just control his emotions, be patient, there's nobody that can run with him. He's fast. He's the fastest car on the track. Car looks great. He could win this race, but he's got to be cautious.
Boy, if you ever have to practice patience, it's in lap traffic.
Well, on a short track like this, I mean, you know, you got to just be careful. You don't want to beat the car.
We literally just
now, I know he's 4 seconds back, but in 3rd place, Ricky Rudd was 14th when this race got the green flag to restart on lap 76. He's now worked his way up to 4th place, and Rudd is coming.
You know, we also talked about Matt Kenseth. He's still 1 lap down. Remember, he has about 15 lap fresher tires than the leader, and that's what enabled him, I think, to drive by Ward to make one of those laps up.
And another of the cars we talked about in the mid-race show to watch when we got back to the green flag was Jeff Green. And Jeff is still doing a great job right there in 2nd place, half a second behind Ward Burton.
Actually, in traffic, Ward and he are the same speed, 22.3, but behind them now is Rudd and Jeff Burton, and they're 22.1s. So they're closing a little bit with the cars in traffic.
And what will happen, these cars trying to stay on the lead lap, they will fight the leader, Ward Burton. But once Ward Burton has went by them and the 2nd, 3rd place car catches them, they won't wrestle them quite as hard. There's no reason to.
And between those two groups, Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer holds on to 3rd place. Let's go to his pit.
And Jimmy Spencer has been told by his crew chief, Doug Randolph, that he has the fastest car on the speedway. Lap after lap after lap, Spencer is cutting the quickest lap times. He has been in on lap 62 and took on just 2 tires, and he's this quick, Mike Troy.
Next, Dick Spencer in 3rd. Behind him, Rudd, Burton, and then rookie Ryan Newman.
Got a pretty good race for the lead now. That traffic has slowed Burton up to where Jeff Green is right on his back bumper.
Ryan Newman, he is having a good run. He was one of the teams that tested up here, and he told me the other day, it was 95 degrees air temperature when they tested.
Would have been a good day to just go home.
Yeah, I mean,
here's that battle for the front spot. Jeff
them.
Green having, I would say, the best evening and day. The best race of his Winston Cup career so far on the trail of Ward Burton.
Michael Waltrip's just in a roadblock right now. He doesn't want to go 2 laps down.
Michael Waltrip, what do you expect?
Newman and Jeff Burton locked in a battle for 5th.
When your car takes off when you come out of turn 4 here and the car starts to push up, it opens the door down underneath you for somebody to come under you, and it really that's what makes this track fun to watch.
Now, this 55 car, Bobby Hamilton, he's on pit road. This is a scheduled pit stop. He was running in 12th, but he has not been to pit road since lap 24, so he ran over 100 laps. He was forced to come to pit road under green here.
Well, he'll be fine if we don't have any cautions. That'll all work out just fine for him. Eventually, you get out of sequence, he could end up in great shape, but everybody's got pit under green for that to happen.
Comes the leaders off turn 4 right now, 40 miles an hour down this pit road. He's probably going to go 2 laps down.
But stopping now, Hamilton's on a 2-stop race.
Yes. He could do it on 2 stops should we go green the rest of the way, which is doubtful, but never say never.
No, and this place can go green for long periods of time, particularly when they're just everybody's minding their manners, and we're pretty spread out right now.
Blend in off turn 2 and try to get in there. And he's going to be much faster than most of these cars. So that's one thing he's going to have to be cautious. He's going to be catching cars with those fresh tires at such a rapid rate.
More on his stop. Here's Dick.
Hamilton did not make a scheduled pit stop. The reason he had to come in and pit was he had a tire going down.
Mike has left the door. He was like, nah, fam, I'm going to...
Yeah, but he was close to having to come to pit road anyhow because he had not been on pit road since lap 24 of last night. But he still has a problem because even with fresh tires, he's up the top of the racetrack and they're just going by.
I watched Michael when he came in and put tires on. He did the same thing. It took him about 5 or 6 laps before he could ever finally get back up to speed. They got the air pressure so low in these tires that you just can hardly... It's like having 4 flat tires.
Yeah, I can't play that. Alright, they're going to another commercial, I think? Yeah, 136 laps in.
No change among the front 5 at lap 142 here in Richmond.
They were saying like about
Pontiac
30 laps ago, the way they're racing.
Next Saturday, the NASCAR Busch Series takes center stage at the newly repaved and reconfigured New Hampshire International Speedway. Jason Keller's taken over the point lead in the series, and coverage begins next Saturday at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific on FX, the Fox Networks, and Speed Channel, your home for NASCAR television.
Well, right now is when there's a lot of chatter on that radio, Larry, because these cars are running laps now that the drivers have figured out what they need.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our leaders have been out there almost 85 laps on these tires, about all of the top 10 or 12. So, yeah, a lot of talk about what that car is doing and thinking about those adjustments coming up here shortly.
For sure. Jimmy Johnson just now moving.
And how many people you think are happy?
Ward Burton and Jeff Green.
5 of them, and that's it.
1 or 2.
35 cars still on the lead lap. The last of those, Robbie Gordon, and just ahead of him, Kyle Petty, and then Steve Parks. Ward Burton has led all but 24 laps. 4th place, Ryan Newman, slipping under Jimmy Spencer for 4th.
And that's exactly what he did. He slipped up under him. They were tight off it, too, over there.
And Bobby Hamilton went from top 10 to 2 laps down.
Now, Bobby Hamilton made that pit stop, but Dick, did that cure his ills?
Well, probably not, Mike Joy. They think they have a broken sway bar arm on that car. They're not really sure what it is. I just sent a note to Jimmy Elledge. It is so incredibly loud where they are. They are right at the exit to the corner. It is a very, very difficult place to hear. And he just wrote back, may have a broken sway bar arm.
Oh, we got trouble.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the front stretch.
Caution, lap 146, Dale Earnhardt Jr. pounds the wall coming out of turn 4.
Hit the wall.
Getting a lap back. Earlier, Matt Kenseth had passed the leader. He gets a lap back, and it's a save for Kyle Petty and Robbie Gordon, who were falling into the clutches of race leader Ward Burton.
He was right on him when that caution came out.
See some damage on the back of Schrader's car, too. I don't know if that was from checking up.
Well, let's see the replay.
And we have about 35 cars on the lead lap, and I would say all 35 of them will probably be on pit road right here.
Right side.
Oh, he just gets.
He lost it.
He just spins coming off that corner. I tell you, that is easy to do, Dick.
Jimmy Spencer is in right now. He's going to make a 4-tire change on his car. He said he's neutral in most of the corner, but he's losing the nose coming out. So they're going to try to fix that by taking a half a pound of air out of each of the left side tires. Spencer gone. There's nobody in the pit behind him, so it's easy for him to pit.
Jeff Green getting 4 tires, just a slight air pressure adjustment on the 30 car. The only service for Jeff Green. To Matt.
Tommy Baldwin and company already getting the left side tires. Lord Burton's down and away, but he is not going to beat the 28 off pit road. No adjustments. He said the car was sliding the nose a little bit. I just don't think there's much we can do about it.
You heard Lord Burton hit the red chip as he tried to power out of the pits and retain the lead. That burbling as the ignition shut off as he exceeded the maximum RPM. There's repairs on Dale Jr.'s car.
Go to the garage.
Go to the garage.
Come around with him. Yep. He was picking the throttle up off turn 4.
Once you get off of turn 4 and off of turn 2, they're both just push loose.
Caution out for the 4th time in the Pontiac Excitement 400. 150 laps complete.
Oh, I forgot to mute. Hopefully they don't copyright me for that.
Under caution for Dale Earnhardt Jr., who spun coming off turn 4, hit the wall near the start-finish line, and has taken his car to the garage. Here's another look.
What you call push loose.
Oh, that'll hurt the rear end, Dick Berggren.
Time Junior was here, he finished 10th. The second time he was here, he won the race. Today, it's in the garage on jack stands. What happened?
I'm starting to think
just lost
Mike
the race
had
car.
too much chocolate covered.
Track's tearing up a little bit, and I've been pushing all day. I don't know why it got loose.
What are the biggest problems they're going to have to fix to get you back out, Junior?
I don't know. Move the rear end back over. Looks like knocked the rear end over.
Well, can't run with it like that. They've got the rear tire off the car now. Mechanics underneath it going to try to get it back out. Mike?
He came in here 9th in the Winston Cup point standings.
All right, I think that where all the liquid comes from, that's not rear end grease. It's on the ground. It's out of the oil tank. They have to replace the oil tank. The oil tank is right by the left rear trailing arm. And what happened when he hit that wall, that trailing arm went over there and busted the oil tank where the oil for the car
You
is.
see the oil tank right in there.
So they're going to have to change the oil tank.
That's the trailing arm, and it went up and hit that oil tank.
And the rest of that oil, Darrell, is all the way around the racetrack. They've had to put Speedy Dry down.
I say
the exit of turn 4 all the way around.
Some people say oil.
When he hit...
Yeah, that's just...
You gotta change your oil tank.
I guess
Mike, one of the things you're talking about is the oil tank on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car is located right here on the left rear. This is the trailing arm. So when the rear end housing went over and came up, it probably has punched a hole somewhere or knocked one of these fittings loose on the oil tank, and that is where the oil's coming from right now. That could be a big problem as far as trying to get that car fixed. One of the other things we had happen here today was Bobby Hamilton's car lost a sway bar. Let me show you where it is and what it does.
I don't think it's because it's boring.
Here's the sway bar that connects to the sway bar. The sway bar itself helps maintain the car's attitude in the corner. A lot of times Darrell and Larry talks about big sway bars. Keep that left front pinned down to the ground to make the car rotate through the corner, make that turn to the center better, keep the nose down on the exit. When you lose that bad boy right there, she flops around really bad, real hard to handle through the corner into Darrell.
Oh, yeah, and of course... I just can't imagine that it came off, but I guess it did.
Well, and we heard Dick Berggren talk about he had a flat tire. These tires don't have interliners in them. If he had a flat left front or right front, it rubs the sway bar arm off before you can get back to pit road and get more fresh tires on. Makes a heel driving race car.
Imagine if Mike fell asleep. That'd be so
be the pre-race favorite, Ricky Rudd, first out of the pits, is now trying to take off from this field. He led 26 laps at Rockingham, 29 laps at Texas, and here on his home track, running out front.
One of the things that we always have to watch, and it still holds true here, when a fast car like Ward Burton's gets back in traffic, seems like they don't work as good, and all of a sudden the captain gets out front, clean air. I don't care, we're only on a 3/4 mile track, but we're doing 140 mile an hour. Clean air makes a difference.
Right now, he's trapped behind Mike Kenseth that's still 1 lap down. He has a good race car, just trying to get back up there, hopefully catch a caution and get back on the lap after all those problems before we restarted this race today.
A lot of determination on his part. You know, it'd been easy to throw your hands up and say, man, we're 3 laps down here, do whatever it was from the get-go. But he's driving the wheels off of it, trying to get back in the race.
You look at Jimmy Spencer in the 41 car. That's his Martinsville car. When we were at Martinsville about a month ago, he was 3 laps down, made 2 of those 3 laps up. It's a little easier to do sometimes on a short track.
Well, and the other thing, Larry, is when you're a lap down, you go all the way to the front of the line. It's like starting on the pole. So that helps you get those laps back. But then when you get them back, you got to restart in 40th place, and that makes a big difference.
Big knot here, including our point leader, Sterling Marlin, and Dale Jarrett, the 88, who led earlier.
Yeah, that 02 car, Hermie, is kind of holding these cats up, and
3 wide.
He is in harm's way, I got to tell you.
Jimmy Johnson.
And that's Harmon, that 48 car.
Is he going to try again, 3 wide in the back? No. Wisely.
Boy, Dale Jarrett, drove that thing in there. Oh, and he gets into John Andretti, and he hit the outside wall.
There goes Bobby Labonte. And Hunt Strickland misses it.
Wow.
That all started because Jarrett, here comes the 17 car, going to get a lap back, but that all started because
he's not going to get it back. No, because Ricky Rudd's the leader, 28's the leader.
Yeah, Rudd was just way out front of him.
But that all started because Dale Jarrett overdrove the entrance turn 3, trying to get back into the groove. He got into John Andretti, and Bobby Labonte in 18 had nowhere to go.
I didn't be here for 20 minutes.
There's just no, coming off of turn 4 here, there's just not enough grip up high.
Dude, yeah.
You get out of that preferred line.
It's been a long day, Christian. I can just
Jarrett's moving around in his car okay, but it is stuck in the mud, literally, from last night's rains. Bobby Labonte going to have a little extra rear spoiler there to work with.
And all of a sudden we go,
See what the replay shows us, but basically what happened. See Dale Jarrett way up high here. Now he picks up a lot of stuff on his tires. He's trying to get down. Bobby Labonte, he spins around because he sees Dale coming down the racetrack. But Strickland sneaking by there.
And John Andretti became the bank shot as Jarrett came back down the racetrack.
Definitely was accidental.
Spotter, am I
He picks up all kind of debris on his tires.
Spotter, am I clear?
Tony Stewart, 20,
There
just
goes
gets
Labonte.
by.
He got turned.
And I'm not sure if maybe Bobby Labonte got booted by somebody behind him who couldn't check up in time.
Right, Bobby checked up. Whoever
he did.
was maybe behind him.
He
Looks
did.
like Nemechek in the 10 car, subbing
Exactly
Johnny
what happened.
Benson.
Man, well,
Chain
that's
reaction
a shame.
once
Jared
again.
he started all the way in the back, and he worked his way up there, and then he had the problem.
On board from Kenny Schrader's front bumper came.
He got KO'd in the left front pretty badly by Bobby Labonte.
That's very cool camera.
Yeah.
Well, Bobby Labonte reporting in that his car is leaking something. First they thought it was fuel. Then Derek Jennings climbed underneath the car and said it looks like it's now leaking rear end grease. They're going to pull the car behind the wall.
That's Dale Jarrett's second car this weekend. He crashed the first practice on Friday.
Every time we say that,
That's
he
his
doesn't
backup
say
car.
anything.
They're going to haul Jarrett out of the really wet grass there in the tri-oval. Back to the garage to see if they can make repairs.
He's having a sugar trap.
Fifth caution of this race, completed 173 laps. Welcome back to Richmond.
I didn't know Richmond was
been
that
kind to
boring,
Bobby
Mike.
Labonte today, caught up in Dale Jarrett's spin. Here's another look at it. Both cars in the garage.
Wrong year, but
Luck this year. You know, these two teams are just snake bit.
20 years ahead of your time.
Now watch Kurt Busch trying to snake his way through here.
Oh man, we do have fun over here. But wow, the Hunt Strickland
What about there
almost
on the
ran
outside?
Jarrett.
They clobbered him.
Kurt Busch.
back it down. You got to open the wall. Stay right there. Come on.
We
It all happens in the blink of an eye. Dick Berggren.
Well, Bobby Labonte climbed out of his car. Very discouraged race driver, and no wonder. They've got the frame machine here to try to straighten out the back end. Big puddle of oil underneath it. What happened out there, Bobby?
It looked like the 88 car got up out of the groove and came back down. He and the 43 car got together, and I seen all this happening way back there, and I guess the 10 car didn't see it happening, so he got me a little bit in the left rear and got me turned around. I just stood in the gas trying to get to do a 360 there, trying to get away from the 88 because I seen him coming down the racetrack. It didn't work out.
Well, we're glad you're okay. We're getting ready for green flag.
Well, that's a pretty accurate account of what happened.
Very little damage to Nemechek's car as a result of that little bump, but that's all it takes. And we're back under green at lap 178.
Just for the people that wasn't tuned in Friday night or last night, the reason Joe Nemechek is in the 10 car, Johnny Vincent, who normally drives that car, was in a wreck in the Busch race and broke the rib, so Joe Nemechek started his car last night.
And I have to defend Joe, because when you're back in the pack like he was and something starts to unfold in front of you, somebody's going to check up a little quicker than you do because it hadn't gotten to you yet. That's what happened to him.
Ricky Rudd out front of Ward Burton, Jimmy Spencer, Jeff Green, and Ryan Newman. Here's Steve Burns.
Mike Ryan Newman's trying to get out of a slump. 3 of the last 4 races, he's finished 40th or worse. But here today, the car is tight at the beginning of the run. Then it starts to loosen up a little bit and raise the track bar 1 round on their last stop. To Matt Yoakum.
Steve, on Tony Stewart's last run before his last pit stop, the first 2/3 of the car was running very well. In the last third, the car went back to tight, just like it was last night. They made a wedge adjustment, but the big hindrance for Stewart was actually when he tried to make his exit from pit road. He was blocked in by Dale Earnhardt Jr. He lost a lot of time, which equated to 5 spots on the racetrack. He's trying to move back up, and so is Rusty Wallace.
Yeah, Rusty and Jeff Gordon are kind of going at it hot and heavy there. Jeff cut Rusty off over there on coming off of 2, and Rusty drove it down into 3, got under him, and is going to make the pass.
And they have Bobby Hamilton, the 55, 2 laps down. He's in the mix. Looks like he's going to take the position away from Rusty, trying to get back up in front where maybe he made those laps up.
Yeah, you know, we were talking about his sway bar, and I just couldn't imagine the sway bar was off that car. We were watching it, and it was still sitting real flat going around the track. It would have been raring up if it had a bar loose.
Whatever was wrong with Hamilton's car, and they still aren't sure what it was, it appears they've got it fixed.
Cars are like that. They got demons in them, you know. They'll just go crazy on you. You'll never know why. Kurt Busch rubbing right side up against the wall here again. He thinks he's at Darlington.
On that last caution, since we'd only ran 7 laps, we had about 4 of our league lap cars that pitted Steve Park, Jerry Nadeau, Hutch Strickland, and Elliott Saddle.
Rusty and Jeff Gordon, I'm telling you, they're after each other.
Yeah, this is war right here.
Yeah, this is like, you remember that one race here when the last restart?
This is a battle for 7th. You look right back there and see that 7 car, Casey Atwood. And something we do need to mention, Tony Furr, that we talked about taking over the crew chief position. He had to leave the racetrack. Our condolences to him and his wife. Tony's mother-in-law passed away, so he had to unexpectedly leave the racetrack here.
Remember last year here, guys? Come down and they had a restart, and Rusty gets under Gordon, sends him up the hill. After the race, he didn't really seem like he appreciated that much. And I think they've renewed that rivalry.
You see it, it's running? Uh-oh.
That's not you demand. That's not you demand.
Like I said like 10 minutes ago, Rusty and Jeff Gordon, they definitely don't have bad blood.
He's not asking for directions, I can tell you that.
So today, same stage, different play.
But I remember hearing the audio of that.
See how they make the final act to this one.
Well, it's a little early, but I think that'll refresh both of them's memory. They're both having flashbacks as we speak.
On stream, and I won't say, but he did say
Ricky Rudd's got a view of Ward Burton looming ever closer in his rear view.
Carlink's back there to Ward.
Can't say enough about that 22 car. I mean, that thing is awesome.
Meanwhile, Ruff's teammate Dale Jarrett sits in the garage. Here's Dick.
He's still got his helmet on, Mike, but it's going to be a long time before Dale Jarrett gets back on the racetrack, if at all, today. The left front corner of this car is severely torn up. You see the sheet metal pushed in, but much more important than that, he was hit hard enough that the left upper control arm broke completely through. They're going to have to replace that. We're in the process of taking the hub off. Put is off the car. There are a total of 11 mechanics working on this thing right now. Some in the left front corner, some in the right rear. This car is very, very badly damaged. I don't know whether this is worse for the car he started this weekend is worse. He's now wrecked 2 cars this weekend. That weekend for DJ.
He came in here 14th in point stick, and he couldn't fall out of the top 20.
And has always had good runs here, especially since joining the 88 car in 1996. In 12 races, 9 of those races he has finished 4th or better.
Oh, man. He'll probably get
always runs good here.
Anyway.
10 laps to halfway.
Yep. Comes down to Charlotte and tries to fight.
Ricky Rudd and Ward Burton are just about identical.
We're about halfway through the race.
They are by far the 2 fastest cars. They're running 2160s. Jimmy Spencer, Jeff Green running 2180s. But yeah, for the last 5 laps, their laps have mirrored each other on the stopwatch.
And normally here, to see how good the sealer is and what the tires are doing, we usually race in the high 20, middle 22s here, 2220 to 2240, 50 along in there, and we're running 21.5s today.
But what I like about this racetrack and this tire that Goodyear has, Rudd's last lap was 2169 on lap 191. The fastest lap he ran was on 189, 2159. Good tire, good racetrack.
Oh, trouble down here, Sarah.
Under the 6th caution,
that's it.
Kurt Busch
Right when it cut,
spinning
he's
down in
trouble.
turns 1 and 2.
That would be with assist.
Oh, what happened here?
Let's see.
Robbie Gordon
right behind him.
Nope.
Just opens that door. I mean, you know, he's a little wide going into one, and that gives Robbie room to get down under him. And, you know, it's kind of a give and take thing.
Yeah.
Kurt was lucky not to hit anything. He was really close to hitting outside.
They're gonna do it. Tokyo Drift.
You know, things are so close down there. If Robbie Gordon checks up, Kenny Schrader will get into him, and so on and so on and so on.
But the one thing I did not hear out of that spotter's radio is clear. I did not hear the word clear.
Bleep, bleep.
Kurt did a good job of keeping the thing out of the fence. He spins it around, but here come the leaders.
And the reason he didn't hear clear, he was not clear. Now you're clear on that.
Are you clear on that? 1 to go. Let's go back to the race.
I'm gonna get some more pizza.
Field bunches up behind the safety car. We've had 50 laps of caution, 6 caution periods so far.
We had several lead lap cars pit there. Only had 12 laps on their tires. Dave Blaney, Kenny Schrader, Stacy Compton, Steve Park, Sterling Marlin, John Andretti again. Matt Kinson, he has 4 fresh tires, and he's back up there 1 lap down, starting beside Ricky Rudd, the 28 car, the leader.
Tell you what, if he's got his pressure down low, like several of these guys have come out on 4 tires, it won't help him much for a while. Matter of fact, it hurts him for a little bit.
Well, Rudd gets a good restart. Already pulled away about 5 car lengths, headed down the backstretch.
Ward Burton's got to go on the last restart. He got kind of trapped there behind Matt Kenseth and never had a chance to close up on Rudd. So he's got to beat Kenseth here to have a chance at the leader.
He's going to clear him, getting that into turn 1.
We'll tell you, the old cat is purring today, boys.
23rd was running 16th.
Nick Berggren.
Well, Jimmy Spencer's radio conversations have become very, very interesting. Asked how the car was, he said, it's real good, but I got to quit overdriving it. He also said that the groove is beginning to move up, and as it does, he thinks he's going to be able to have a better entry because he's going to be able to go into the turns a little bit more wide than he has now. Spencer, a real good car that's getting better as this race wears on.
Just got to be careful when you make that wide entry. It feels good, but you don't let anybody slip in under you and not know they're there. This track's a big D. I mean, the back straightaway's a little short straightaway, and then the front is a great big loop and turn, and so it opens up the bottom going into one for a culprit.
And again, Rusty and Jeff Gordon's cars have a magnetic attraction for one another.
Yeah, and
I mean,
still got a long way to go.
Like that.
We're just past halfway.
It's a long way to Richmond.
You look right out in front of these guys, the 99 car, Jeff Burton, he'd been trying to make the second groove work. He finally gave up on it, just fell in behind Ryan Newman there, the 12 car. He ran it for about 2 or 3 laps and just wasn't going anywhere at all.
Looks like Rusty's going to prevail here on Gordon.
Well, I don't know. He's being mighty cautious, being mighty kind right now.
Well, they were coming up on Brett Bodine, and
apologies for not talking for 20
somebody had to give if they were going to get by him single file.
8 cars coming back out, guys.
I find it very comedic.
And Steve Burns with a fellow who sure wishes he was out there today.
Yeah, Mike, Johnny Benson here and moving gingerly. Johnny, we're glad to see you. How are you feeling?
I don't think it hear me, so I can't talk any louder than this. But Joe looks like he's doing a good job. But I like looking at the interior of this car a lot better than the exterior. I think he got a pretty good car.
Benson, who either cracked or broke a rib in that crash Friday night, was kept overnight for observation at the area hospital. And so Nemechek is in the number 10. Meanwhile, Kevin Harvick's been busy.
Like Casey Atwood in the 7 maybe bobble just a little bit. Harvick in that throttle just gets into the back of it.
That's an outside groove. I mean, it's almost it's a half a groove, and you get the right side tires up there, and that new sealer in the car will just break loose with you. You got to be really, really cautious. You kind of play around with that. You get the right rear end and say, that feels like it's going to... Nope, it ain't there.
Harvick now 11th. Ricky Craven 12th. Tony Stewart just went by Harvick.
And you know, watching Ricky Craven in the 32 car, I believe this racetrack has come to his race car. I mean, he had went all the way to the back last night. I believe the track conditions today and temperatures are suiting his race car much better.
The car looks better with the sunshine.
It's a battle for 13th. Craven's now in 12th.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has made repairs. He's back in the...
Happy with the way his car is driving. I need to correct myself on Terry Labonte. He's still hunting his first top 5 because he actually finished 6th at Martinsville about a month ago.
56 laps now.
Well, meanwhile, that 28 car, he's done pulled out to a little over a 2-second lead. And Matt Kenseth has got back by Ward Burton, still trying to get that lap back.
And I don't know if they fixed the 55 car or fixed the 55 driver. But whatever it is, he's a lot better, and he's hanging around the front here and maybe try to get back on the lead lap. Oh, trouble down here, man.
Oh, hard. Frank Kimmel on the wall.
Frank Kimmel just took off like something happened to the right front.
Yeah, it looks like a tire problem.
Caution is out.
Yep, 7th time in this race, lap 215. Right front destroyed.
I think he must have cut a tire down because that thing, I looked up and he was headed for the fence at a high rate of speed.
This is one of those borderline calls. The leaders have 29 laps on their tires. They may be coming to pit road there.
Let's see, we're 215 laps.
You could do it on one stop for me if you had to.
I think I'd come.
And I believe they are coming.
Giving up track position. Here come Rudd, Ward Burton, Spencer, Jeff Green, Ryan Newman.
Everybody on the lead lap.
Ward Kimmel's car really took a hard lick. Took a shot at that hill.
Saw one like that here, and well, here's Dick Burton.
Well, Jimmy Spencer has slid into his pit area and aligned the car absolutely perfectly for his crew. 4 tires, Steve Burns.
4 tires for Jeff Green. He says he's tight from the center off, so they just made a wedge adjustment. Left side tires going on to Matt Yoakum.
The 28 of Ricky Rudd, the leader, is in. 4 tire change, no chassis adjustments. It's going to be a big race up pit road. The 41 is going to beat the 28. Ward Burton came in. His car was a little tight. He came in because the 28 did.
Remember a race here on the old half-mile Fairground Speedway that preceded this 3/4 mile? When Neil Bonnet was your teammate, Darrell, and he had one cut down in turn 2. It was guardrail then, not concrete, and he just shot into that guardrail like an arrow and stuck there. But the way he rocketed off that corner looked just like Frank Kimmel did a minute ago.
Yeah, the only thing that was left, the bumper, rear bumper, was sticking out of the guardrail because the rest of it went through.
third lick when you figure it's a 3/4 mile racetrack.
It could have been worse. It could have been definitely way worse.
Frank Kimmel, though, walks away.
Oh, forgot the mute.
Welcome back to Richmond, where under this caution period, Dave Blaney and Ken Schrader did not come to pit road, and therefore they are the leaders. But how about Jimmy Spencer winning the race off pit road?
Those guys got the job done, but just remember Dave Blaney, great run last week at Fontana, and Ken Schrader. The reason they didn't pit, they pitted the last caution flag, and who the real guy sitting in the catbird seat will be Matt Kenseth. He's on the tail end of the lead lap now, on the verge of making both those laps up after the problems earlier.
Track position.
And Mike, Ricky Craven, what a big move for this team. Last night at the red flag, they started 10th. They were 38 at the red flag, and your driver came on and said, "You really bailed me out." What did he mean by that?
Well, we had a long night last night. Roy, McCauley, and myself, we worked about all night trying to figure out what we was going to do, and we probably got to sleep about 3 o'clock this morning, and it's worked out really well. You know, everybody's doing a great job. Ricky, he's really doing a great job, and we'll see what happens here. He's really happy with it right now.
The car would not cut. They unhooked the rear sway bar, put in 3 spring rubbers in the right rear, and we're back to green.
Craven will restart 13th. Now there are several cars out ahead of race leader Dave Blaney. They are Matt Kenseth, Bobby Hamilton, and Brett Bodine trying to get a lap back from the leader. 77, the yellow car right there. Dave Blaney's our leader.
Blaney's kind of liking this leading races. You know, it gets addictive. He was out front last week. Had a shot at winning up there in California, and here he is today, boys. Looking pretty good.
Darrell, you said a couple of weeks ago he was having a little crisis of confidence.
Yeah, he was. I talked to him at Talladega, and he said, "Man, I don't know. You know, I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's a car."
Again, Mike, you mentioned it just a second ago when we came back from break. Jimmy Spencer, look at the pit stop on these guys. But this is what these guys are doing, 14.8. That's the reason it's deceiving. Yeah, he came in third, but he actually went out first. But look at his total time on pit road versus these others. I mean, everybody else, these 3 guys are close, but look at Spencer right there, and that's the difference. I'm telling you, when it's so hard to pass, you can win races on pit road with what you do right there, what your crew does for you.
Jimmy Spencer right now is second to Blaney. He's passed Kenny Schrader. Dick Berggren.
Well, Larry Mack was talking about how good Spencer's pit stop was. Let me tell you what, when he got to the end of pit road, realized where he was sequentially, he let out a war whoop, a big yahoo! And the crew is so pumped up that they are asking to have him pit often. They are just all fired up here in Spencer's pit. They think they got a shot to win the race. Rusty with trouble slowing down in the speedway.
Yeah, he
got the right rear down. Right rear tire flat.
Yeah, he's slowing up.
Kurt Busch got into the back of him, and fortunately there was no damage, just a bit of contact after that happened.
He slides right up in front of him because he got a right rear tire down, and he's lucky he didn't get turned around right there.
Got booted.
He's trying to get the pit road, and here we go.
Casey Atwood gets into Jeff Burton, and 5 cars are going to pile up.
They do. That's all because Rusty had nowhere to go. He just couldn't get down into the end of the pit lane. That 29 car's laid up against the fence.
Wow.
Now, Matt Kenseth, he'll get his lap back. Bobby Hamilton in the 55, he's going to get one of his 2 back.
Bunch of guys are trying.
I saw those fans running down to the catch
Spencer,
fence.
he'll lead the race here at the caution flag.
Kevin Harvick, Stacy Compton, Jerry Nadeau are the victims of that pileup at turn 3.
And that was because Rusty could not get in. He was trying to get down out of the way. He's got a flat right rear tire.
You don't see
everybody bottlenecked up behind him and caused the crash.
And Warren Burton in the 22 car, he's in the garage area. Went straight to the garage area, but in the middle of 3 and 4, he didn't even come to pit road.
The pole sitter and the best car here for most of this race has parked it.
Fox was actually showing a replay of the previous incident. So this is one screw.
Well, let's see what happened to bring out this 8th caution flag. Watch the 2 car of Wallace.
Just trying to get down into, trying to go. There's an opening right there. He thinks he can get down right there, but
in front of Atwood.
Jeff Burton didn't know. I don't think he knew that what was going on with Rusty. He was going to dive to the inside, and here comes the 7 car.
They collided and went right up.
The rest is.
And I tell you, see that 29 car up there? That's the one that's really tore up.
Rusty Wallace, I don't know why he came down.
Got his arm out. Yeah, I don't know what Jeff Burton was thinking about. He gets into him off the 2. Rusty's got his hand out. Maybe Jeff thought he was shaking his fist at him. And was going to dive in under him there.
Trying to get a pit
Casey Atwood came flying in there on the low side.
I'm not even saying sorry for coming down on him. I couldn't tell.
Right there.
Yeah, he had a run. He didn't know what's going on.
Another one that spotted about clear.
4-car just squeezes through.
Yeah.
Man, Atwood got torn up. The 14 got torn up in 25, and those guys are having decent races.
This is down the front straightaway here, going down into turn 1. This is when Rusty first knows he's got problem.
How much do you take
Car
up a
takes
lane?
off up the hill. Burton gets a run on him, and they bang
turns
together.
out.
Now, my thought is that Jeff Burton thinks Rusty's trying to block him maybe as they go down into this turn. He doesn't realize that Rusty has a flat tire.
Oh, that was perfect timing.
From Kevin Harvick, who was swept up in all this.
69.
And he is okay.
Oh, wow. Harvick
Back
had
his
a lot of
teammate,
damage.
Robbie
His teammate, that messes the front of the car up. Gets a run down the back. Here comes the 99. The force lurks him into the outside wall, and that was a hard lick.
Kevin Harvick's okay. The guys I feel for, and it's because I worked there for 4 years, the fab shop at RCR. This is 3 weeks in a row. This car is wrecked at Talladega 2 weeks ago.
Wow,
4 out of 5 cars was tore up for Richard Childress Racing.
Kevin Harvick's all right. Here's Matt.
Well, Mike, this is the right rear tire that came off Rusty Wallace's Ford. You can see an inch or so cut, and that's the reason.
Just like my elbow?
That's what cut down this tire, but you can see
have a cut
that the
on my
inner liner
elbow.
did keep that tire out.
Mike? Nothing major, though.
230 laps. We're
Definitely
past
didn't cause as much
halfway,
damage as
but
that one did.
170 to go. 6 cars involved. Jeff Burton, Casey Atwood, Stacy Compton, Jerry Nadeau, Mike Skinner, and Kevin Harvick.
Well, almost
Now, after that happened, Ward Burton
65%
drove
through the
straight
race,
into the
Mike.
garage. Dick Berggren, why?
Well, he really doesn't want to talk to anybody right now, Mike, and I surely can understand
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
But there
he
is a
led
trail of liquid that goes from the
125
racetrack to directly underneath this automobile, and a puddle of oil underneath the car. One mechanic looking underneath. Tough day for Ward Burton. He surely thought he was going to win the race today. Not be his day. Ward, what happened?
I think if you didn't get on that exit, I feel like you
There it is.
really good job.
Transmission, Ward Burton's car.
His brother Jeff fared a little better on that lap, involved in that crash. Casey Atwood in the side of him, and around he goes. 6 cars involved in this 8th caution flag at Richmond.
Way back.
Spencer's leading after starting 36th.
Cleanup continues at turn 3. Meanwhile, Frank Himmel, who brought out the 7th caution with his turn 2 crash, has been treated at the Infield Care Center, and the ARCA champion has been released. He is okay. Back down to the garage, Dick Berggren.
With Jerry Nadeau, who also has just walked out of the Care Center, a busy place right now. What happened to you out there?
It just looked like everybody bunched up coming off turn 2, and then they ended up finally wrecking in turns 3 and 4.
I agree with that statement.
My car just wouldn't stop. We've been struggling really bad last couple weeks. Car just hasn't been really good in race mode. We can't get the car to turn. It's been tight today, and I pushed up into everybody.
Yeah, a year later.
I hate it for all my fans and everybody at UAW Delphi. Hopefully we'll catch a break here soon.
We'll see you in a couple weeks in Charlotte.
I met Nadeau earlier
Of the
this
6
year.
cars you see there involved in the crash, Skinner, Atwood, and Burton have been able to continue. So has Stacy Compton after damage repairs.
Facing got the whole right side caved in, but he's back out there and going.
And they're actually still on the lead lap. They've been making a sequence of pit stops, but getting back out before the pace car trapped them on pit road.
And Rusty Wallace, if he could have made it to pit road to change that tire, would have lost laps, is still on the lead lap as well. Casey Atwood at the tail end of the lead lap coming off pit road.
That's one of those. That's one of those when you look. You say, what happened back there anyway?
He didn't win
How about
it.
it?
He can't quote. Well, he
Now
did
Kevin
have a
Harvick
win
walking back to his car. He's just left the Care Center. You all right? That was a wicked hit.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. GM Goodwin's car was pretty good, and we got hung out to dry. The racetrack's about the most miserable racetrack I've ever raced on in my life. Might as well put dirt tires on and go out there and race on dirt. But it looked like the 99 spotter was sleeping, and Rusty had a flat tire. And
He said spotter was
impatience behind us come up and just blasting us, and we all wrecked.
Last year, this guy ran in 2 series, had 1 DNF in each of those in over 60 races. This year, in the 11th race of the Winston Cup Series, already 3. What's happening this year?
Well, you get caught up in crap like that. You guys are the TV announcers. You tell me what's happening.
All right, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Well, to be fair, yeah, he did have
for that young man. I've been there.
I don't even
believe it or
remember
not, I can remember when I was 20-something years old, and I can feel for him.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Nadu. He probably would have had some more wins in his career.
Several cars showing the effects of the 8 caution flags here at Richmond.
Okay. They've been sneaking up on those and tricking me. Yep, again. What is this commercial is my question.
I got mad.
Cars on the lead lap. Other than the cars involved in that wreck down in turn 3, the only lead lap car that pitted was Dave Blaney in the 77 car.
Well, Ricky Rudd's got to be careful here. He's in and amongst a group of lapped cars. Couldn't go around the outside. Now he's got to fight for the inside.
60 laps away.
And Kenny Schrader in third, right behind Rudd.
Restarts are always your worst nightmare, especially on a track with about 1 1/2 grooves.
Oh, Michael's being a roadblock again.
Rudd gets under Michael Waltrip. A little bit of daylight ahead now.
Michael's really been struggling. His car's just not been good today. And that really surprises me because he won the bush race, finished 4th, and I thought he would have had a pretty good little hot rod today, but just hadn't worked out for him.
I'm not sure where
Look at the car behind Ken Schrader. Martin made his way after starting in the 18th position up to 4th.
He's not that good, though, Larry. I've been watching, just like you said, and he got up there. I'm not so sure he didn't take 2 tires to get up there.
I'm bored.
Look at the telemetry on Kenny Schrader here, down to about 5,800 down in turn 1 and 2. About 8,500 into 3 and 4, into turn 3, about 300 less RPMs into 3 than into 1 because the front stretch is much longer than the back stretch. A lot more RPMs, a lot more miles per hour. You see the interval 2.5 seconds behind lead.
Boy, that was a slick move. Did you see that?
Jeff Gordon just kind of moved Jeff Green aside right there.
Tony Stewart was about to move him aside off turn 2 as well and then backed off of him.
This pretty aggressive driving right here. Right up on him. Of course, Tony Stewart's right down there with him. He got him a little loose getting in there.
Oh, that's clean.
Jeff cuts right down in front of Tony.
I don't know about that. I'm just kidding.
And Tony Stewart.
He saw what Jeff did. He said, that was a pretty cool move. Let me try it. Meanwhile, Jeff Green is getting his dandruff up.
Did DW just say get
Jeff Green had a great car in the first half of this race.
Let me tell you, I think if he could catch Gordon back. Oh, there's a car around down there. Kyle Petty down turn 2, guys. He went around on him. I couldn't tell if he got from the outside.
Lap 247, 9th yellow of this race.
Caution. Well, me and Keaton predicted 9. So we're at 9.
Kurt Busch will not get his lap back.
No.
More than this for cautions, though.
Look at Green. Yeah. Look at Green.
Yeah, that's the way it's going. Hell,
now, we're over on the back straightaway having a little conversation here, guys.
A lot of
Kyle got away from turn 2 and stays on the lead lap. Pretty good hand gesturing going on there.
Yeah. They're having it now. He's going to go up here and explain that. They say, look.
Uh-oh. Look at this.
He's got 2 problems, 24 and 20.
And he's right between the 2 of
them.
Now watch this. Watch this. He said that he can't get his attention. He drove up time on the left. He couldn't get his attention, so he drove upside him on the right.
Steve?
30-24 Jeff Green just told his
crew chief. I've seen this in temper compilations.
Chief Robbie Loomis and asked him what Jeff Gordon's problem is. He nailed me twice at barriers up in the pit box talking to Rob. Not like the contact that Jeff Gordon has made.
And then when you get done with that, run down that 20 car and ask Zipadelli what he's got a problem with.
Okay, let's see if he gives a finger or something out of the window. Looks like
short finger. Looks like
short fuses
and a lot of big.
Oh yep, that's the finger.
Jeff Green out of that 30 car. And I don't think he was
saying anything. No, he's putting his hand out.
But okay. Been hilarious if he still was giving.
50 laps of this to go. Kyle Petty's made repairs and stayed on the lead lap after hitting the wall in turn 2. Steve?
And Mike, we just heard Jeff
Gordon was saying,
Robbie Loomis relayed the message. Gordon's response was that he wasn't letting off, so the flag stand. It's Jeff Gordon's side of it.
We're under caution for Kyle Petty in turn 2. The red car, red and black car.
Well, right now it's worse than some of the 1991 races I've seen and 92
Just got up out of that groove, Daryl.
Nowhere to go.
Yeah, I mean, the 1992 Pontiac Excitement race, I don't even think it cut out.
Now, up until they sealed this racetrack, people were making great passes up on the outside like that.
You could even run higher than that.
You could go all the way up against the wall down there.
So damage to the Sprint Dodge in the back, but Kyle stays on the lead lap. He radioed in. Driver error.
Oh, poor Kyle.
From Rusty Wallace's car.
Right side tires up there where there's just no grip.
When she starts to get a little twitchy like that, there's no grip.
What happened to Wallace? Other than that one problem he had earlier.
Well, Mike, Jimmy Johnson is slowly working his way to the front. Currently ninth. And it's Richie Chad Canals on your last stop. Probably one more stop. What are you going to do to adjust that car to make it another winning car?
I really couldn't hear you too well there, Matt. Right now our car is just a little bit tight in the center. I tell you what, we have got a serious case of pit road disease. Every time we come on pit road, if we have a good pit stop, we get blocked in the pits. If it's a green black stop, the caution comes out. If we can ever get this pit road problem we've got solved, I think we're going to be pretty good. But our car's really good today. We got one more chance to adjust on it. Jimmy's very happy with it. I think if we can get up front, get away from these lappers, and maybe have us a real good run. The Lowe Chevrolet is just running great, and Jimmy's really up on the wheel today.
On the restart, it is Jimmy Spencer, Ricky Rudd, Kenny Schrader, Ryan Newman, Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Green, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, Mike.
We get up on that outside, it's just kind of tippy toe here. Rudd would like to get in front of that 11 car and does.
Still Kurt Busch in the 90 contest with Kurt a lap down.
Kurt was pretty speedy, though, on that restart we just had and able to stay out in front of Rudd.
I forgot about it at first, but I think it's really
Here we
cool.
go.
I'm a little surprised that it happened
for
because
6.
I thought that he would just
Jeff
return
Gordon
for
and Jeff
like
Green.
the All-Star
Tony
race
Stewart
or
right there with
anything,
him.
but never in a million years I think
What
that
Green is going
he
to
would have
find is he is the
ownership
rock
stake with
between two hard
GMS
places.
of all teams. So yeah, definitely really excited to see him
looks
for a
like
few
that
races
bottom
this year.
definitely prevailing
I know
down
he's
low
racing
in two.
500.
Green and Stewart
I
together.
don't really
They
know
got
what
together.
other races, so really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Stewart can't get underneath Mark Martin.
And yeah,
but he will.
saw Jeff Green
Behind Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson. He wants to take advantage of that bottom groove moving in the 48 car.
Boy, it's hard to come up off the turn 2 underneath somebody and accelerate hard like Tony's doing. That tells you his car's handling pretty good. Tony's faster, but he's pinned down on the inside by Mark. If he could ever clear Mark, he can go on, I think.
I'm not sure if they're using on the 40 or the 44 or something
Meanwhile,
like that.
up at the ranch,
Because I don't think HMS can get the 48.
Mr. Spencer has pulled out to over a second lead in just about 4 laps.
And he and Ricky Rudd turning identical lap times.
now you just remember, this cat, Jimmy Spencer, won both Busch races here last year. He was leading, or was going to win the Busch race here this year and had a mechanical failure, so he knows how to get the car right for this joint.
That's surprising to me.
Eddie GMS is Chevy, right?
Yeah, but
Spencer out in front of Rudd by a full second.
Wait. Oh, I didn't know
Bobby Labonte has returned to the race, damage repair.
I literally, for some reason, thought that they were
Here's Jimmy Spencer spotter telling you to ease it in. Where you beat people here and where you run fast lap times, it's not overdriving the entrance. It's beating them off the corner.
Man, it's crowded down there getting into turn 1. Not enough room for 2 cars to get in there side by side, but they keep doing it.
And Jeff Green climbs the hill in turn 3.
That could be a flat tire from all that rubbing. He's been banging around and getting pushed around.
We talk about that a lot. You could knock a valve stem off.
And if you get up out of the groove, there's just enough trash up there that...
right there. Left rear tire possibly could be.
Was doing there.
Trying to cut started.
Well, that'd be a shame because Green has really had a fast car today and he's done well with it.
I don't believe. Don't look like we have a flat tire.
What happened was he got up out of the groove, picked up some of that loose rubber and trash up out of the groove, and it took him a lap or 2 to get it cleaned off and get going again.
Maybe 600. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh yeah, I forgot that too.
Do you ever have gum stick to your shoe? It's kind of the same thing. You have to scrape it all off before you can can take a normal step again, and that's what happens to these tires.
Yeah, they're hot, they're sticky, and any trash that's on the racetrack, when you get up out of the groove, it'll stick right to them. Boy, there's a car high.
Sadler. And Joe Nemechek, you see he has climbed to 10th. Now, Nemechek had to start this race last because of the driver change. He's subbing for Johnny Benson, who has an injured rib from Friday night's Busch race.
And he said, I sat at home watching Happy Hour, and obviously Johnny had a good car. All I had to do is get in and get comfortable.
Mike Skinner, turn 2.
I don't think there's a caution, though, is there?
That's about the second or third car in turn 2 in the last 3 laps we've seen have a problem. Elliott Sadler just a couple laps ago.
I think it's just a product of trying to arc it down in there, Larry, and there's just not any grip there. The car's twitch.
Turned down in John Andretti of the 43 car and got into the 22 car, post sitter. He's going to be back on the racetrack after having the transmission problems.
36 laps down. In a car that coulda, woulda, shoulda won it.
Jimmy Spencer's been leading.
Jimmy Spencer's opened his lead now to 0.8 of a second.
We're trying to keep up with all the action, but it's hard to.
Ninth.
Not going to catch me with that music this time. All right, so about 135 laps to go.
130 laps to go, and the Pontiac Excitement 400 has lived up to its name. 9 caution flags.
Excitement.
So far, and don't forget, right after today's race on FX, special extended post-race coverage for you on Speed Channel.
It has a big,
right after we go off the air,
very
switch over to
exciting,
Speed for more interviews and race analysis. Then Monday night at 7 Eastern, 9 Pacific, Michael Waltrip, Johnny Benson, Kenny Schrader relive the weekend on NASCAR Inside Winston Cup with Alan Bestwick.
Hopefully that music's not copyrighted.
Kenny Schrader and Mark Martin battling now for 8th place.
Yeah, that's it. Get that rhythm back. Let's stay right there.
Keeping his casket.
Look at the up and down day of Matt Kenseth.
Oh, look, there's Matt Kenseth.
He's battling Ricky Craven here now for 13th. And just remember, we restarted this race today at lap 66. He was sitting on pit road going 2 laps down before you even got the green flag.
And, folks, this is why when guys up there racing that leader and you say, why does he keep doing that? This is why he keeps doing that. To get back on the lead, get back in the race, and he's going to salvage some pretty good day here.
I think he may have had some pit issues or something like that.
Let's have a look back through this field from Jimmy Spencer, the race leader. 0.8 of a second back. We'll find Ricky Rudd, the second place car, whose lap times are right identical to Spencer on the watch, within 100th of a second right now. As we've kind of gotten into a cruise control phase of this race. Ryan Newman has been the leading rookie in this race all day. He's third, but he's 4.7 seconds and a bunch of lapped cars behind Spencer. 15th place, Jeff Burton, Joe Nemechek, Terry Labonte battling. You know, for 275 laps, there's always been a battle somewhere on this race.
We can find a battle. Right now, Rusty's got his hands full with a 77. That's a battle.
'21st place was Wallace and Blaney. That's I think that's Dale Jarrett's wounded car behind. Though there are several that look like that.
And
that's not Jarrett.
Sterling Marlin just keeps kind of inching his way up through the field too. Mike, he's sitting there in 7th place and racing Tony Stewart pretty hard right now.
Yeah, after his pit stop, Darrell, he was 22nd, and now Sterling's up there fighting for 6th.
Got a pretty good car.
See Kyle Petty going a lap down after that spin a while ago, but he stayed on the lead lap, but here he's going to go a lap down.
A couple of lap cars, Compton, Newman, Earnhardt Jr. after a trip to the garage, and here's 3rd place Ryan Newman. He's 4.8 seconds off the lead.
He's got a bunch of distance between him and the 2nd place car and him and the 4th place car.
4th and 5th.
Clear, all clear.
Mentor protege, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, 4th and 5th.
You know, I got to think that if I was Jimmy Johnson, I'd say, you know, if I just run behind Jeff Gordon, I'm going to do okay. And every now and then I might win one, or every now and then I might get a chance to pass him.
And here's the 6th place car, Darrell. Tony Stewart.
Well, he has used that thing up today. The right side is beat all pieces on that thing.
Sterling Marlin.
And
There's
no,
Marlin in the picture.
Silver,
the Coors Light Dodge.
There's Sterling Marlin up there.
And behind him, Mark Martin, the 8th place car.
He's the points
Mark seems to be a little bit better, Larry, after they run a while.
Which that's not unusual. That happens with his style and his setup a lot.
Good day for Jeremy Mayfield as well. He's in 9th place, right on Martin's bumper.
That's a good run for Jeremy. He's just been kind of hanging out right there on the outside of the top 10. Now he's sitting there in 9th position.
Look who's climbed to 10th after being 2 laps down, making repairs on pit road. Matt Kenseth.
Let me tell you, when you've come from 2 laps down, you are so pumped up. There's a good chance this kid could win this race.
Now 11th is Jeff Green.
A car that's in 12th, I don't think we'd give him a nod today, is Steve Grissom in this 44 car. He started back in like the 29th position, and they came up here and tested. I talked to his brother-in-law / crew chief, said they had a good test here, and he's been right there on the verge of the top 10 all day long, stepping in this car just 3 races ago.
Meanwhile, Ricky Rudd has erased that 0.8 of a second deficit. He's caught Jimmy Spencer.
Not much of lapping. I mean, there was some lapping, but yeah.
Right now, they're fixed to start to catch the tail end of the pack, which definitely makes a difference. As we talked about several times earlier, patience. That's where you really have to use it, working these lap cars. And cars that's trying to stay on the lead lap.
Early in the race, Spencer radioed his crew, said he was guilty of over-driving the car. The car was fine. Now he's under pressure from Rudd.
Whoa. Right now, Ricky's so much better through the middle of the corner. Got underneath in turn 2. He's going to take the lead here going in lap 3.
You know what happened there?
Laps to go.
He was looking back. He's looking back to see what was going on behind him, and I think he about lost it off of 2 over there.
Rudd led 67 laps earlier here. Kind of surprised to reread the record book that he'd only won twice here. He could have won a half dozen at this racetrack. Celebrates his birthday here in the race weekend in September, and he's from Chesapeake, so this has always been Ricky Rudd's home racetrack. Matt Kenseth on the comeback trail, past Jeff Green, and looking at Sterling Marlin there for 9th place.
And you know, we talk about being 2 laps down, not giving up, but Darrell, what kind of frame of mind would that put you in to know? And I know we restarted at lap 66 today, but basically he's 2 laps down today before they even throw the green flag.
Well, your attitude could be just put it in the garage. You know, we're all messed up. We're 2 laps down, but he didn't have that attitude. He had that I can still win this race attitude, and by golly, he's putting on a great show here. I don't think we've said enough about where he's come from.
Now Sterling's backing up. Jeremy Mayfield went past him, and now Kenseth.
Ford modified Taurus.
Now Dale Jarrett, who crashed heavily and got stuck in the mud in the front straightaway. He's back out after repairs and a lot of duct tape.
Took a bite out of a cookie.
That thing is ugly. He ain't got no alibi. He's just plain old ugly.
Needs some parts off the big brown truck. 110 laps to go. And they come back to the line. Ricky Rudd.
Possibly.
Oh yes, I love the taste sheet now of the cookies in the morning.
Yeah, can't play sound for this, I guess, because it's copyrighted music.
But in his first 5 races, his best finish was 12th at Darlington. But in his last 5 races,
why do you have to say it like that?
3rd at Bristol, 4th at Texas, 7th at Martinsville, 14th at Talladega, and 3rd at California.
We're talking about this racetrack going for a half to 3/4 mile back in 1988. The team that won that race with Davey Allison was that 28 car.
Darrell, how about Ryan Newman? He has now come up to 2nd place.
That car looks really, really good, and it seems like the longer they run, the better it gets. He's moving up through the field, challenging for 2nd.
Steve Burns is in Newman's pit.
Mike, the crew chief, Matt Borland. Matt, what is Ryan saying about the car? Tell us about your strategy for the end of this race.
He's pretty happy right now. The car feels pretty good to him. We're just going to pit here one more time and probably take 4 tires and see how it goes at the end.
It seems like this
Newman's car is doing something really fun drive when they'll do it. He is really getting back in the throttle in the middle of the corner. That's where he's really making a lot of time. Car's sticking to the bottom of the racetrack, and he is jumping back in that throttle. Jeff.
Really
you know, Jeff Hammond, what we're looking at here, we're 100 laps to go. Most of the leaders, Ricky Rudd, Ryan Newman, Jimmy Spencer, all were on pit road at lap 216. That definitely makes it where they can do it on one stop. But one key could be when to make that stop. Pit early, get advantage of those 4 tires, but when you do that, you know what the downside is, the old caution flag.
Yeah, you've really got to roll the dice right here. It puts a lot of pressure on the crew chief as well as the spotters to try to kind of like see what's going on with the rest of the race. You got a big pack. Hey, I want to stay out until they kind of split up and break up a little bit. If you're leading this race, you definitely would like to see a lot of guys pit before you do. So if the caution flag does come out, you get the advantage of putting these guys down a lap so you don't have to race them later on. All these things right now, hey, that's what them guys get paid the big bucks for, is to make that good decision right here at the end.
Hey, Jeff, and the other thing I'm telling you as a driver is don't bring me in the pit when somebody's in the pit box in front of me or behind me if it's going to be under green. Give me a clear shot at it.
Exactly. You need to also look all the way up and down pit road. You don't want to have to contend with anybody if you can have that happen. Let you know far enough in advance so you can pick a hole, get down. This is one of those racetracks we've seen earlier. If you back off too soon, you could get turned just trying to get down on pit road. A lot of time's got to be given to let these guys know what's happening.
But this might be our last stop. We can't have any mistakes. We can't have any lug nuts fall off. Driver, you can't speed on pit road coming in or leaving. It'll end our day.
Don't beat yourself, guys. That's the main thing. Don't beat yourself.
Ryan Newman eating into Ricky Rudd's lead.
He's closing, buddy. I'll tell you, he's got a fast hot rod under him right now.
But right now, Ricky Rudd's in all kinds of traffic, plus a lot of cars trying to stay on the lead lap. John Andretti, Ken Schrader, Bill Elliott.
Yeah, there's some cars here now that are going to be difficult to pass.
Amazingly, despite 9 caution flags, there are still 40 cars on the racetrack. Only Jerry Nadeau, Frank Kimmel, and Randy Renfro have retired from the event. They're still trying to fix Kevin Harvick's car, but this track is still pretty chock full of race cars to navigate through.
Yeah, a lot of them are torn up, like Dale Jarrett's and some of them, but... Boy, that's got to make you... That's got to be the car owner's nightmare, getting passed by the pupils.
There's a battle for 4th. Jimmy Johnson takes 4th from his part owner, Jeff Gordon.
Jimmy was in our Kung Fu opening at the top of the show, and, you know, Grasshopper or whatever. I don't know. I didn't ever watch that.
Jimmy did.
But, you know, back to that strategy, Darryl, no matter what, these guys are within about 10 or 15 laps of having to come to pit road because they're going to be up there about 110 laps on tires and fuel.
Larry, have you ever felt like that maybe you and I spent way too much time in the garage area?
Yeah, that's
when we listened to Mike and Chris. What is all this thing? They've watched too many movies. All I know is about race cars.
All I've ever watched is the Weather Channel and FX and Fox.
I was going to get a good night's sleep last night, and I flipped it through the channel. It's on Last American Hero.
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from with that. Jeff Gordon arguably had tougher competition.
Something wrong with Rusty's car.
Yeah, and Ricky Rudd's right on him. He's got to go around the outside of him and put a lap down. He's got a change. Another Ricky Rudd hard into the outside wall. No, our leader.
Bruh.
Wow.
Here comes the land rush back to the caution flag.
Holy cow.
Newman, the leader. Hermie Sadler gets a lap back.
I don't even know if that was his fault. Hold on.
Rusty slides up toward the wall as the right side tire's down.
Rusty got a right front tire down. He's going to tear
the
nose off the thing trying to get back to the pits. But, you know,
type of bad timing.
I don't know what happened with Rudd. I'm not sure.
That was a huge hit.
It didn't look like there was any contact, although, you know, Rusty was there, slow going in the corner, but we got to take a look at this.
But Ricky may have got up in that sealer where there's no grip, and that may have been what happened as he was going around.
Every time we've seen a car get a little high down there in turn 1, this is what they get this kind of result. There's Rusty. Ricky goes around. Oh, yeah, he rubbed him.
That was Rusty's fault. He came up a little bit.
He sure did.
Yeah. Driver saw it, too.
Get to the bottom now. You're clear of the bottom. Clear of the bottom.
That looked like Tyler Riddick's incident at Auto Club.
Yeah, just rushed.
Outside.
Just rushed to get him out of shape.
Take it all. Go to the caution. Beat that car back to the caution.
He's so much slower. He was that
Jimmy Spencer has pitted. He said that the only problem with the car is he's beginning to lose the front end. So far, every pit stop has
been fast, including that one for 4 tires and fuel.
Oh, no.
A hard crash at the end of the pit wall. Robbie Gordon has run into the inertia barrier and come to rest at the end of the concrete wall.
And what all the water is, this is water barrels filled with water to keep from hitting the end of that pit wall.
Those are water barrels, and that's concrete.
I've seen this clip before, but I didn't think it was from this race.
So he is indicating to rescue workers he can get out. But that water barrel was designed by great road racer John Fitch, who raced for Cunningham at Le Mans. The Fitch inertia safety barrier is found on the highway, bridge abutments all over the country, and it's also used to good effect, as it was right there here at Richmond.
We got cars everywhere, Rick. 28 on turns 1 and 2, 31 down here in 3 and 4.
I know his car's tore up, but could you imagine hitting that wall right there without those water barrels there, or without that barrier?
And Rusty's tire all torn up as he finally made it to pit road a lap later.
Yeah, what he's got to be worried about is if it knocks the nose off of it. Looks like he's going to make it around okay. And once again, Rusty Wallace had a left rear down or right rear down over there, caused that big wreck. This time he's got a right front down, took the leader out.
Yeah.
And one big problem he could encounter, we talked about it earlier, thinking that's about what happened to Bobby Hamilton is before he gets to his pit box and gets a tire on there, is rubbing that sway bar off.
Hippopotamus's poop looks like when it comes out. And don't ask me why I've seen that.
Look way up at the top of the racetrack.
It looked like the Spider-Man. It looked like the Spider-Man webs on the
There you see Robbie Gordon. Whoa. You see all the water.
Yeah.
It's what happened. He was probably coming around there and they told him to pit, and he tried to turn down into the pit lane and was going too fast.
Oh, another view.
Now from Kenny Schrader.
Oh, yeah. Not the best shot, but you can get the gist of what happened.
It's the way that if you turn on pit road late, you're going to get a lot of debris on your tires.
Robbie.
And this race is going to be red flag. They're going to stop the cars to clean up at turn 2 and at turn 4. But that's how that barrier is supposed to work, Darrell. The water is in there in several compartments separated by foam, and it's designed to disperse the energy so that car and its driver don't have to absorb it.
It sure works.
They're probably still running caution lights because they haven't said anything about a red flag.
Yeah. I was going to say, should we skip ahead or should
Robbie Gordon's able to walk away.
Probably get an interview, I think, with Robbie.
That pit wall has been extended around further around this turn. When we first came here, after they redid the track, the pit wall ended right here about pit number 36, and everybody was worried about running into the end of it, so they extended it on further into the turn, and it tightened up the entrance to pit road a little bit.
Yeah, because before they extended it, I mean, the cars were racing just a couple of feet off of it. In fact, you'd go up there and kind of skim those barrels every once in a while.
And Ricky Rudd, who, like Jimmy Spencer Friday night, was likely on his way to winning this race, ends up with his car destroyed.
Well, Rusty's got a right front tire down, and you got very little control over your car.
Your car won't turn.
It just won't turn. And he slipped up there and just got into the side of Rudd there.
From Kurt Busch's car.
Oh, that was a close call. What a lead. Have like a Newman's crew. They're celebrating.
That's the 12 crew there. He's taking the lead with all this going on.
Someone's misfortune is always somebody else's good fortune. In this case, Ryan Newman takes the lead. Dick Berggren?
Well, Robbie Gordon is here, and whatever did happen to you that put you in that wall?
I don't know. I don't know if I hit oil or what happened. I was following 77 right behind him, turned left, and it just took off.
How about that impact barrier? How much did that help you in that accident?
The impact barrier helped a lot, but really disappointing. You know, Gil Martin and everybody here at Richard Childress Racing did a good job. We didn't have a good car when we started the weekend. We just kept at it. We had a really good car at the end there. Very disappointed.
We're glad the impact barrier did its job. He's okay, Mike.
You know, it almost looks like that he was following the 77, and maybe that he was going to try to go around the 77 and got some of that rubber and dirt and stuff. His car's pretty good on the short run, so he's really in good shape right now. His car really takes off good, and it's good for about 70 laps, so I think he's in good shape.
Was that Jimmy Johnson?
Johnson, that 48 car, though, he got a heck of a run off turn 2 that time.
And Larry, like Chad said, we don't know how good we are because we've been back in traffic all day. Now here we are up front. Maybe we got something for these guys. And we see that week in and week out. You get up front, get out front, and you can carry the mail. Car looks pretty good, 48 does. He's getting through the center of the corner a little bit better than Jimmy is right now.
He's able to carry that momentum off the corner because of it.
Backing off early. Now watch him. He gets it right there. I like that. That's a great way to be able to drive. Is to back off early, float it down in there, but then gas it.
John Andretti in the 43 car had hung out on the lead lap. He just came to pit road.
So Newman and Gordon.
Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon. This is a battle for third.
Yeah, 2003 Rockingham.
I tell you, that outside is you can run out there, but you got to be so careful. You're going to lose positions. It kind of one step forward, 2 steps back.
Right now, that looks like what's happening to Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. Ryan Newman gets by, and Bobby Hamilton in the 55. He's still trying to get up to the front to make that other lap up.
You see how much quicker he is to the center of the corner, and that's because Jeff just cannot take a chance on gassing it too early.
Mark Martin and
Jimmy
Tony Stewart
really got mad,
coming into the picture.
With Kurt Busch, but he had to other on-track incidents like with
Spencer, the leader, rookies second and third, veterans fighting behind them.
He had one with Kevin Harvick, but that was mostly one-sided.
Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car, Ricky Craven in the 32. That's a battle for 7th. And how about right behind him, Jeff Burton in the 99. Started back in 23rd. Remember, he was in the big wreck with Kevin Harvick and those guys not that many laps ago. Over in turn 3, here he is in the top 10.
I still find it crazy that Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson never really had a on-track incident.
I'm telling you, they got any fenders left on them.
Time, they never really wrecked each other.
Daryl, Jimmy Johnson chasing Jimmy Spencer for the lead. How much of this is the thrill of victory from last Sunday coming out in this kid right here?
He just can't do anything wrong. I mean, they're putting great equipment under him. They're making good calls in the pits. The rest of it's just kind of easy.
They have Big Mo on their side.
They do. I mean, they got it going their way.
See the telemetry right here on Jimmy Johnson.
I just think it's an indication of when you got good resources like Hendrick Motorsports does, and they give the guy equipment like that, he's going to get the job done for you.
9,000 RPMs into turn 1, 8,800 into turn 3.
As I mentioned earlier, Jimmy Spencer
had
a couple opportunities.
He set second and third, Johnson and Newman.
Every week it's this way. You know, we end up at the end of the day with 2 or 3 rookies up there setting the pace, 3 or 4 veterans out there chasing them.
We've had a rookie finish in the top 10 in almost every race this year.
Yeah. And they won.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you know, it's not like they're just hanging around. I mean, they win races.
Oh, turn 2. Sorry, Kyle Petty got caught up on the outside of Mike Skinner and Dave Blaney, and that was almost another one.
And Kyle Petty just had
that makes about 40 almost then.
Only 40?
40. I count. Not the 40 that I can recall.
Right.
And Kyle Petty, once he got to the 2000s,
here's what happened.
Struggled a lot.
Right there.
He
trying to run 3 wide up off turn 2. That don't work.
No. Is it 3 wide or 3 wide?
I think honestly the switch to Dodge really screwed up.
Whoa, is that a little bump?
I believe it was, and I don't think that Mr. Spencer's going to appreciate that. Now, remember what there he goes around.
He's going to hit the wall. Ryan Newman takes the lead. Caution is out.
Uh-oh, look out, Rusty. Look out, Rusty.
Just drove it in there, Judy.
Clear low. Come on, guys.
Oh, that was close.
Rookie mistake.
Jimmy's trying to get going to stay on the lead lap here, and that will hand the lead.
I don't believe he's got much to get going with. Wadded it
Spencer
up
lost
pretty good.
multiple spots.
Hands the lead to the other rookie, Ryan Newman.
Spencer's got a little shove off of 2 over there, and Spencer was holding him down real tight getting into 3.
Yeah, that car's close.
Here we go. He gets into him, and this is like Bristol. Remember what Kurt Busch did to Jimmy? Gets into him a little bit. Doesn't really upset the car much.
Just a little touch.
Side by side. Now, see how close together they are?
Yeah.
And how Jimmy's leaning on him?
Just the side drag
Even here.
racing deal.
You can pull the back end around the car.
Accidents have been racing deals. Some stupidity, but mostly racing.
Mostly everybody's going to keep their heads on the street. Except Jeff Green, of course.
And notice how right after that little bump going into the turn, Spencer drives to the right and drives away.
You could already see Jimmy Johnson's wheels turn to the right.
I know why you're laughing. tell us.
Rookie. That's what Spencer's thinking.
Right, because he knows 8 wheels corner better than 4.
Yeah.
Not going to let that happen. So Jimmy Johnson becomes the latest leader to crash out of this race.
Stuff off so we can try not to lose my laps.
No, you're going to have to get it off, Jimmy.
For the most part, none of the leaders with only 11 laps on their tires. All the leaders elected to stay out with 21 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, maybe. Can't play that. It's copyright music. All right, back
Flag is just waved, and another rookie takes his turn at the point.
16.
Ryan Newman.
Oh, yeah, we don't
16.
run out of rookies. We got plenty of them to throw at you.
He has some veterans lined up behind him. Jeff Ford, Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Spencer, and Jeff Burton, Jeremy Mayfield, all veterans behind him.
Yeah, Spencer fell to 5th, and Dick Berggren.
Well, I was listening to Jimmy Spencer. That incident occurred, and I listened to it all the way through. In fact, I just shut it off so I could talk to you. And Spencer was remarkably calm on the radio, surprisingly calm. When asked what happened, he said, well, he said,
huge
crash in the racetrack.
Rusty Wallace, point leader.
Nobody get lap back. All this started because the 11 car got and Jimmy Spencer got together. They cleared it, and then all this happened behind them. Dead at it.
I don't think Sterling is torn up. I think he just slid in there and stopped with a little bit of damage, but not much.
Yeah, Brett Bodine, Mark Martin, and Jimmy Spencer were all kind of tangled up there bumper to bumper.
That's the 3rd time Rusty's been. He finally got Rusty this time.
He was actually the first car to get out of shape and spin. Here's Steve Park, the 1. Terry Labonte, the 5 car. Rick Mast, the 90 car.
Yeah. And then there's Rick Mast in the 90.
Pickles, cornflakes, and Pennzoil. That's not a good combination.
Oh, they got mayonnaise in there too, so it's.
I actually had a weird Sterling Marlin story.
You got cornflakes, motor oil, and mayonnaise.
NASCAR series, well, diecast series.
Right here, Jimmy Spencer, the 41, Brett Bodine, 11.
And some
right
guy
here,
in there.
Jimmy had to check up because Mark Martin is 6. Brett Bodine gets into his left rear quarter panel. They checked up a little bit. Rusty spins, and then this is what happens.
Yeah, that broke Rusty's momentum.
Wait, what does that have to do with Sterling Marlin, though?
Oh, no.
That's Sterling Marlin within the accident.
Oh, no.
I'd write down the cars involved, but there aren't many that weren't.
But,
yeah. Just randomly made me think of that.
See Jeff Green, Kevin Harvick.
Try not to get canceled, John. Anyways, yeah, it looked like Russ Walsh was Lawson and Mikey was there. Wow, they were
Ricky
even
Craven in the 32, Jeremy
back.
Mayfield in 19. Those guys just barely getting through. All those lead lap cars.
Like 2 people spinning for the whole field, and it's just.
Daryl, that track narrows up in a hurry when one car gets sideways, let alone 2.
Well, and it's slick. I mean, the sucker's slick, and you got, you just don't have a lot of control. He just tried to gas it and get it to turn all the way around, and he made it worse, kind of like Dale Jr.'s deal.
Oh, Ken Schrader's.
John Andretti, Strickland, Kenny Schrader.
Point leader on pit road. I don't think Sterling's car is hurt anywhere. Got a little damage to the rear, but not much.
He pulls a Lightning McQueen and he gets through.
55 got a lap back, and I want you to look at it now.
He lost his left rear tire.
Really he just got back on the lead lap.
Oh, there's his tire right there.
Wow.
All right, who's getting suspended this time? The crew chief?
Well, Mike, down here behind the 48 pit, Jimmy Johnson's crew working feverishly on the front trying to repair this car for points. Jimmy Johnson, a heartbreaker. What happened?
Well, I'm under here, I guess. I don't know. I was racing hard and must have touched going into 3. Touched tires or something and got loose. Haven't been loose in there all day long. Been racing hard. Just a shame. Started 26th. Had some trouble in some pit stops and been blocked in. And we had a good shot at winning this thing today. I just hate that I made a rookie mistake or whatever there. But we'll be back. Thank everybody at Lowe's, all employee owners. We're having a lot of fun. State that we crashed.
And Dick, he was apologizing to his crew chief Chad Canals. Chad said, "Don't worry about it, dude. These things happen in big league auto racing."
Sterling Marlin has just made his second of 2 pit stops. In the first stop, he pulled the right. I shouldn't say he. Gotta be careful. This is Sterling. The crew pulled the right front fender out. Second stop, they put left side tires on it, and they pulled the left front fender. He got both of them. Neither one of them very bad. Now he's got 4 fresh tires, and going to try to go see how he can do with that. Mike.
Thanks, Dick. Terry Labonte looking over the damage to his Kellogg Chevy, and Steve Hart likewise. 10 cars involved in this crash.
And yep, here we go with the music again. All right, Mark Martin's in 4th now. And Stewart's in 3rd. Huh.
Welcome back to Richmond. Mike Joy with Darrell Waltrip and Larry McReynolds. Here are how the point standing leaders are faring. Not too well.
Yeah, but look at these. This guy right here and this guy right here. Now, I mean, they're lucky to even be in the race. Kent's is up there in the 9th. Bush was a lap down, and now he's up there in 11th.
And Rusty Wallace, he's been in several cautions.
More like
go a little further than that, not on the graphic, but Ricky Rudd, who was in 8th, he's out of the race. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was in 9th, he's back out there, but had his problems. So really, most of the cars in the top 10, Rusty will be in another one.
Rusty's up there in, 3rd or 4th, and he's running 28th, 2 laps down.
And they popped the top on Rusty's Ford.
Shock off and let's send him around. Get the shock off.
They may have a busted shock on the right front.
Let me give you the 10 cars who were involved in that crash in no particular order. Michael Waltrip, Jeremy Mayfield, Steve Park, Sterling Marlin, Jeff Green, Rick Mast, Terry Labonte, Rusty Wallace, John Andretti, and Ricky Craven.
I didn't see
we didn't mention
in
that Kevin Harvick, after that bad wreck, he's back out on the racetrack. So realistically, 13 cautions, 12 cautions, and 43 cars starting. We only have 4 cars that's actually out. Robbie Gordon, Jerry Nadeau, Frank Kimmel, and Randy Renfro.
Yeah, Harvick was in that one too. That's 11 cars.
Yeah, and this, I mean,
Mike, you remember
seen this many
Ricky
cars torn up since
Harvick fight at
a bad night at Bristol.
Really?
Yes.
This is a bad night at Bristol, isn't it?
That was a classic.
No, it's
one of the least marked up cars in the whole race is that of Jimmy Spencer, and another is Jeff Gordon.
Newman's car looks pretty clean, too.
That it does.
It's kind of funny how the guys without much damage are all in the front. Tony Stewart's car kind of right side, but...
Man, I wish Dodge was still
a little donut on the right side of Spencer's car. That's Jimmy Johnson's tire.
Yeah, but unfortunately,
or no, it's not. Jimmy was on the left side. That's somebody else.
Terrible direction of the electric.
Not too bad. Flames are all still intact.
Now the right front of Tony Stewart's car is
his left side.
Up.
That's a good sign when it's your right side it's all beat up, not your left.
Left side looks much better than the right side.
When your right side is beat up, that means you're passing people. When your left side's beat up, that means you're getting past.
Ryan Newman's our leader as we get ready for the restart. Only 3 times have consecutive races been won by rookies. Billy Wade, 1964, Dick Hutcherson, 1965, and Tony Stewart 3 years ago.
Be ready. Green.
57 laps to go.
Well, we know Newman is fast. I mean, we've seen him qualify track records on poles. Now he needs to be real consistent.
Top 3 clear the lap car Brett Bodine, Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, and Tony Stewart.
And right behind Newman, a fellow who's had 18 straight DNWs. Did not win. It's Jeff Gordon.
There you go. There's side of Tony's car.
Tony Stewart in the 20. He didn't waste any time at all getting by Jeff Gordon.
I don't think he's going to waste any time at all getting by all these guys because he's looking pretty racy.
Jeff Gordon, but you know, I mean.
Remember, Stewart started this race among the last 3 after an engine change.
There's some kind of trend there, Mike. Yeah. I mean, we've seen that happen. Kansas did it. Sterling did it. Now this kid's doing it.
And there where he looks so strong, he's able to drive that thing down in the corner deep, but yet it still stays on the bottom and goes to the middle of the corner, especially right down here in turn 3 and 4. Watch that thing rotate right around the bottom right there.
The car looks a little free, but that makes it fast. And you know, Tony, he's used to riding on the right rear. He's your midget sprint car driver. He's used to that.
Hey, Darrell, how about Steve Grissom, who hopped into this petty ride, the number 44, just 3 races ago, and he's here running in 7th place.
The 1993 Busch champion.
Yeah, and I mean, he hadn't really been doing anything but testing. So, you know, it's not surprising it'd take him 2 or 3 races to kind of get back in the groove. But he's in the groove today.
That car and Mayfield's both look pretty good.
Tony Stewart is making some ground up on Ryan Newman. About 2 car lengths. 52 to go next time by.
Well, let's see. That's 2 more hours, so.
Oh, no.
we're averaging 25 miles an hour today, so it's just...
Still have 19 cars on the lead lap.
And still have 39 cars officially in the race, 34 of them on the racetrack.
1 minute we're down to 10 or 12 cars on the lead lap, and then all of a sudden there's a caution. We have 19.
When the leader wrecks, a bunch of cars been getting their lap back.
Over and over again.
Dick Berggren.
With one of the real veterans of Winston Cup racing, Terry Labonte. Such a wild race today, and we had a wild race on Friday night. So many accidents. Why is this happening?
I don't know. I don't know what caused that wreck that we were in there. I saw some guys get sideways up there, lap cars, in the way a lot. And the track doesn't really have two grooves. It's got about a groove and a half, so it makes it pretty tough there. But just one of those deals.
Disappointed Terry Labonte. We'll look forward to seeing you in
He was on the lead lap when that accident happened off turn 2.
And having a Terry Labonte kind of day, quietly hanging around the back 5 there.
Things heating up for the lead. Tony Stewart in the middle of the corner and into the corner. He looks a little better than Ryan Newman, Darrell.
He's gaining on. He's inching up on him. Newman just needs to pay attention to where he's going. Don't look back. When you look back, you lose time. That's an old veteran trick. A.J. Foyt told me that. Run behind a guy, bump him just a little bit. When he looks back, pass him. And if he happens to take his hand off the wheel and shake his fist at you, hit him again.
Joe, I think with 47 laps to go, Tony, he realizes he's faster than Ryan. He's not. I don't think he's pushing the envelope right now. He needs to pick and choose where he tries to get by Ryan.
But does it look like Newman is beating Stewart up off the corner?
It's like he just kind of got his own little pace going here, and it's working for him. And Tony's trying to drive in real hard to catch him, but Newman's just kind of doing his own thing. He's a savvy kid, smart.
Stewart closes the gap into 1. Newman extends it, coming out of turn 2. Pretty equal through 3 and 4.
Car looks good. It's right around the bottom. He's back in the throttle plenty early. Doesn't look like he's abusing the car right now, just hot rodding it around there.
Since his rookie season, 1999, Tony Stewart leads the league in short track victories with 4.
Probably could have had 5 if he hadn't pitted at Martinsville when his teammate won. Had the best car.
Oh, yeah, he's talking.
Jeff and Larry talked him into pitting and putting tires on.
There's the Mark Martin slipping underneath Jeff Gordon. This is for 3rd.
That's why he's no go.
Jimmy Spencer in the 41 right behind this group, along with Jeff Burton in the 99.
I'm not sure if Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart have ever raced each other in open wheels or not. That's where they both came from. Tony may have been out of the series by the time Ryan got going pretty good, but I bet they've raced each other before.
If not, the number 1 spot.
Dick Berggren's with another driver who got swept in that wreck.
Steve Park, another disappointing day. What happened out there?
And after that, it would be
lap cars.
Pretty close between.
They line them up on the inside, and they against racing get their lap back and end up spinning Rusty, and it's just a shame. Just got all of us caught up in it, and we just got the Pennzoil car where we needed it. I mean, the adjustments that Paul made were great, and the car's just starting to handle good. There's 70 to go, then you get involved in a wreck. So I mean, just disappointing. I mean, I just want my luck to turn around. I mean, the finishes are not indicative of what the car is capable of doing. Just a shame. I mean, I got to keep my head up, and I got to keep my spirits about me, but it's hard right now. I mean, it just, it just seems like no matter what you do, you think you're in the right direction, then all of a sudden you get involved in a wreck. So I'm kind of disappointed right now.
It's going to feel so good, but it does turn around, Steve. Mike?
Steve Park was also a lead lap car who got swept up in that big crash off turn 2.
Well, that 17 car continues to nibble the way to the front.
He's only got 40 laps to get there, and he's a long way behind. But boy, if he can get another car too and catch a caution, he's going to be in the middle of this race for the lead.
He's pretty fast. He's 22. He's 21.8. Leaders are 21.7. So they're still a little quicker than he is, but he's in traffic. He's in traffic, so He can catch a break.
But just look at the interval. He continues to win a little way at it just a little bit here.
Yep. Jeff Burton's coming. Took 5th place from Jimmy Spencer a lap ago here.
People, but I still say
Bobby
no.
Hamilton's the one I feel sorry for. He got that lap back on that last caution. He came in the pits, and I guess they left the lug nuts not tight on the left rear, and his wheel came off. And I'm not going to sing the song. I mean, that's old news.
Yeah.
He's in 24th a lap down.
But you know the song I'm thinking of.
You picked a fine time
to lead me loose wheel.
I don't think he's that far out or buried that far in.
It was a big hit for him.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think for at the
That
worst,
one
like 82nd.
don't take you.
Like that.
What's that? What's the name of that song? Kenny Rogers song. Oh, Ruby. Yeah.
Trouble turn 2. Kenny Schrader and Mike Skinner.
And Skinner was having a pretty good go of it.
Yeah, he was. And caution is out on the speedway here. About 35 laps to go. Caution number 13.
One inside of you there, the A8. Now you're clear.
That car was pretty undamaged.
I tell you, I don't know where Skinner's going, but I keep a camera on him.
There we got.
He don't look happy.
Definitely has been.
Got the radiator.
And if the thing don't lay down on him before he gets up there to Kenny Schrader, he may be
3 wide just isn't
going up to let Kenny know just how
well,
unhappy
it wasn't
he
even
is.
that. It was just Skinner came down on Schrader.
Well, Schrader went in the corner outside of Blaney.
Kind of looks like another racing deal to me. It looks like
Skinner was up outside of Schrader.
Facts.
There's just nothing, you know, when you get up out of the groove down there in the first turn, you go around. That's just kind of the way it's been all day.
You know, Darrell, I'm glad I'm up here in the broadcast booth. These leaders, they have 32 laps on their tires. There's going to be about 30 laps to go. But what I'm seeing, though, with the lap times, I'm not sure the best place to be is out front on those 30 lap tires.
I ain't coming in.
Okay, you're staying out. And it looks like that's what the leaders are going to do, stay out. Jimmy Spencer comes in the 41 car.
He has to because he's been falling back, Larry.
Yeah, he was 0.3 of a second.
His lap time
off the leader.
He's been falling back, so it makes sense for him to come in.
Ricky Craven pits, so along with Kenny Schrader and Jeff Green. All of these are lead lap cars still.
Mike Skinner has gone to the garage.
At some point in 01, I'm not sure when though.
I know Nemechek won.
This has been a Wreckfest. 13 caution flags.
And
10 of them for accidents.
I think he actually swept the weekend, actually.
Yeah, you're right.
This ride with Kenny Schrader.
What happens here?
I mean, how many times have we seen that right there? You know, it won't work over there. You know, you're chopping people off, going up, coming down. It just won't work getting into one or on the exit of turn 2.
And it's one of those situations where when you go in there, you kind of all shrunk up in the seat, just hoping that guy didn't touch you, because you know if he does, you're out of here.
Here we go.
Now, Schrader's teammate, Joe Nemechek's having a strong run here, subbing for Johnny Benson, who hurt his ribs on Friday night in the Busch race. Nemechek's in the top 10.
You know, right in front of him, a guy that was a lap down, second to points, Kurt Busch in that 97 car.
97 and 17, they got to be the story of the day, to come from where they have, and they're back in the hunt.
It looks like it, yeah.
And another good day for Hut Strickland in 11th place.
Teammate to the pole sitter, Ward Burton. Those guys came up here and tested. You know, it looks like here about third of the way through the season.
Yep.
Crew chief Philippe Lopez, Hut Strickland, that Dodge program, starting to come together.
Philippe is fixing things. You walk in the joint, you know, you got to fix things. You got to get the cars right. You got to get them where the driver wants them. That just takes time.
Now, I'm sure he smoked about 2 truckloads of cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
But he's fixing things.
But Philippe's a great organizer.
He is that.
He'll get it right.
In the series back when Bill Davis filled in the 23.
I thought you were going to
BW, Larry, Mike, take a quick look right now. But you got the 6, the 99, the 17, and the 97. All Roush cars in the top 10 here again today. Trying to keep their owner, who's sitting up there in Michigan watching them on television, keep him happy.
And all of them, other than Mark Martin, has had eventful days. Jeff Burton in the wreck in turn 3. Matt Kenseth 2 laps down, restarted lap 66, and Kurt Busch at one time a lap down. So they have overcome a lot of adversity today as well.
On the normal day, they'd be out of the race because we wouldn't have had all these cautions. But on a day like today, you can get back in the race because of all the cautions, as long as you're not one of them.
Never quit. Never quit. That's the main thing. When you're trying to do good in a Winston Cup race and score points and get the victory lane, you just can't quit. Caution cars off.
Got to be like a junkyard dog.
There's a lot of them out there, right?
Grab a hold of them.
We'll restart with 31 to go.
18 cars still on the lead lap. The biggest thing a lot of these lead lap cars have to fight still is those lap cars. Tony Stewart, he turned down to the bottom in turn 1, tried to get underneath Ryan Newman, it didn't work.
Newman and Stewart will get way away from these other guys, though, because they're going to be hung up on the outside with, as you said, lap cars.
Yeah, they're pulling away quickly.
Who do you like here, Darrell?
I don't like anybody.
Should I rephrase that?
I don't. I like Tony Stewart.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down between you.
He knows how to win here. And the reason I said that is because every time I like somebody, they wreck.
Mark Martin, he finally gets by Alex Sadler, the lap car and the 21 car. Now Jeff Gordon's trying to get around him in fourth place.
We may get another caution.
He doesn't Now he does.
Yeah, look out. Brian Newman just ran out of racetrack over in turn 2. Tony's got the bottom line here through 3 and 4. They're side by side, all 4. 28 laps to go. Meanwhile, Mark Martin, that 6 car, he likes seeing them race side by side because he's pulling up to him.
And Newman's got to be careful up on that outside. He can't, no way he can hang. Nobody's been able to all day. That was inevitable. I mean, Tony's got a good car, and like I said, he's won here, so he knows what to do.
Right behind these guys, Jeff Burton in the 99. Jeff Gordon cannot get his car to the bottom of the racetrack, and they continue to go by him.
He's been hung up on the outside all day long.
Newman right to the bumper of Stewart.
Well, now we saw this happen with the last rookie that was back there trying to fight for the win and the lead. Don't want to mess around too much with those veterans.
And Mark Martin, the 6, he's right up on these guys' rear bumper. We got a 3-car race right here at the front.
Where did Mark come from?
And Mark's car, now, I got to say, early on, it gets better the longer they run. And he's been out there on those tires a while. He could be setting in good shape.
Steve Grissom's in 8th.
Obviously, I'm sure he's happy just to be where he is at this point of the race.
Even though a lot of them's been cautioned, these guys have been out there on those tires up to 65 laps. Everybody was on pit road about lap 310 for fresh tires.
Jeff Burton in 4th, Gordon now 5th, Mayfield 6th, Kenseth 7th, Steve Grissom 8th, Kurt Busch 9th, and Hut Strickland 10th.
Boy, and I tell you again, just talking about Steve Grissom, he's doing a great job. I thought Busch was all over him. I thought Busch was going to make the move on him, but he's pulled away from him. Having a good day there, buddy, Steve.
Matt.
Well, Mike, under that caution, Greg Zipadelli was talking to his driver, Tony Stewart, just about their pit strategy. Should they stay out? Should they come in for tires? They looked at the leaderboard, 18 cars lead lap, and they remembered back last month to Martinsville. They had a great race car, came in and pitted. They had a lot of track position to try to make up, and they couldn't quite get there. They didn't want to make the same mistake twice.
Trouble in turn 2. Caution is out because of a lot of smoke from Dave Blaney's car. Going down into turn 1, all the drivers staying way up high above where the fluid was put down from Blaney's 4.
And you know, Jeff, a while ago, I kind of questioned, would the leaders pit, would they not pit? We're going to get restarted here maybe with about 15, 18 laps to go. I'm packing my pit equipment up. Stay out, unless you're at the back of the lead lap cars. Come in and get you 4 tires. But if you're at the front, you cannot give that track position up, Jeff.
No, $1,800 a set of tires, I'm going to stay on.
Darrell, look, stay off the radio, driver. Stay out. Stay focused on what's going on, and you can win this race. You got yourself a good race car, and I agree with Larry 100%. The only difference here, Buddy Rowe, I packed my stuff up about 25 laps ago.
We know now why some of these wrecks happened.
Hey, you're the leader right now.
Maybe you're driving Jeff Green's car, 30 car, because he just pitted.
Jeff Gordon's chassis is not the way he'd like it right now. Gordon is running in 5th spot. He said the car is loose going in, and it's pushing, his words, like crazy.
What do y'all think is going to happen?
14 caution flags ties the record for the 3/4 mile configuration here at Richmond. When they come around.
Yeah.
Who do y'all think's going to come on top?
I'm sticking with my gut.
I think Newman.
All right.
I'm sticking with Stewart.
You just said that.
Stewart looking for his 3rd Richmond International Raceway win. 19 laps to go. They will restart next time by. Jimmy Johnson has returned to the racetrack after a long time in the garage. Getting set for what we hope is the final restart of the day.
Well, we got 17 cars on the lead lap.
a lot of people walking around on the bottom of the
Seven
track.
cars a lap down, so we got 7 guys that are lap down are going to be racing each other up on the inside there.
And then once again, the problem, Burton in 4th and Jeff Gordon in 24. Mayfield, Kenseth, good race cars, but they have to fight those lap cars on the inside.
And they waved off the restart. It'll be at least another lap. Matt?
Well, Mike, if Tony Stewart can hold on and win this race, it'll be a nice rebound after finishing 29th in each of the last 2 races. He had dropped from 5th to 10th in points in that time. And really for Stewart, though, the second third of the season is when he really comes on. He really starts to score some points. He's hoping to make another big push in the points. This would certainly help that effort.
Tony Stewart leads the league in bonus points for leading laps. He and Dale Earnhardt Jr., 45 each. Stewart will have that lead by himself today. He came in here 10th in the overall standings and will move past Earnhardt Jr. and Ricky Rudd today.
We got to clean them up good right now, Larry. Those tires are hot. They've been out there a long time. They'll pick up just about anything to roll over. Rubber, stay dry, anything. So you got to clean them up good. Don't want to spin the tires on this restart.
Exactly. That low gear, you got to be easy with that throttle. You can't be too patient. You can't give up anything, but you got to be easy. Don't spin those rear tires.
And you don't want to go down there in the first turn with debris on your tires and shove up and everybody go by you.
You ready? You ready? Green.
Did he just jump?
17 laps to go.
Boy, Tony Stewart, he got a well of a restart. Ryan Newman, he clears the lap bar of John Andretti. Next time by, 16 laps to go.
It looked like he jumped it to me.
Haven't seen a restart like that since we watched Richie Evans.
Wow.
Clearly jumping.
That's a launch. He launched it.
Probably so in the comments, oh, you're just a scooter.
Mark Martin in the 6, Jeff Burton in the 99. They get by John Andretti as well as Jeff Gordon. So now no lap cars to contend
Jeff
with,
Burton's
and they should have a clean
third.
racetrack the rest of this race.
Fast.
Roush Racing teammates nose to tail, Martin and Burton. Meanwhile, Newman is closing right back up on Stewart.
I don't think Tony can't give up on the. He can't think that he's not going to hear from Ryan Newman one more time. I think Ryan's going to get up there with about 10 to go and see what he's got.
Kenseth's up there.
Burton now 3rd, Mark Martin 4th, then Gordon, Mayfield, Kenseth, Grissom, Busch, and Strickland.
Pretty intense back in here for 8th, 9th, 10th, long in there. Everybody's bunched up, 5th on back. Guys are on the lead lap.
Oh, Busch against the wall. He and Strickland get together in the back straightaway. And Kurt Busch in trouble in turn 3.
I believe he's got a tire down. No caution, though. No caution.
No caution.
Right front.
He's been up against that wall, I'm telling you, so many times today. He's another one of those that's on a backup car. Like
He's already used this one up about 3 times.
Trouble he's been through today. I was hoping to get top 10, but I guess not.
Looks like the right sides are down too on that car.
That's a caution right
He's trying to make it to the pits.
I think he's going to sit out on the frame.
I'm so tired with flying off.
Which is really going to hurt him coming here second to points.
Short tracks are hard on these rookies.
NASCAR.
Good grief.
Left rear down, a rub on the right front.
On the back straightaway.
I don't think they'll throw a caution though, Darryl. Down the bottom of the racetrack. Normally you don't see cars down there. 10 to go next time by.
I'm sure not wanting them to throw one, I can tell you that.
Kurt Busch gets his tires changed and he's headed back out. He's going to lose a couple, 3 laps.
I bet you're going to throw the yellow with like
Jeff Burton in the 99, he's really pulled away from his teammate, Mark Martin's 6 car, 10 laps to go that time by.
You know, before this last caution, Mark was up there racing
it's too low
the 20 and the 12.
And
so
I mean,
that last restart hurt him.
Today. They were just like, nah.
Jeremy Mayfield putting the pressure to Jeff Gordon now.
He got him. He's got a nose under him. He should be able to take. He should be able to get under him in the corner.
Matt Kenseth in the 17 trying to latch over the rear bumper. Jeremy Mayfield, if he takes that bottom group away, he wants to be able to follow him through. Jeremy clears Jeff Gordon. Matt Kenseth jumps up in there. He's going to take the position by getting in turn 3. 8 laps to go this time by.
Jeff pushed up over there off the 2. Had to get up out of the gas.
Whoa, what is the 29 doing?
His car has just not ran very well on the bottom today.
No, it hadn't.
Imagine you came to the track and get
Kurt Busch back to the pits when they replaced the lefts. They didn't fix the rub in the right front. Now he has new ones on it, and he's getting a penalty. He's going to be held. Craven and Nemechek side by side into turn 3.
I don't think anyone sketches Stewart.
Ninth place battle.
Jimmy Spencer in tow.
And I think the difference right here between Nemechek and Craven was in for tires on about lap 365, so he has much fresher tires, so it's able him to make some position along with Jimmy Spencer, who also pitted for tires. But they're about a third of a lap behind the leaders.
Yeah, the leaders are long gone. They've spaced themselves out. Tony stretching out on Newman. Newman stretching out on Burton.
Remember what Joe Gibbs said last night in the pre-race? You know, he said all the cars are starting up front. That's a good thing. They said, well, now we found a problem with the engine, but we got it fixed, and we're all starting in the back. And he said, oh, well, that's a good thing. You know what? It's going to be a good thing for Tony Stewart.
5 laps to go.
That's optimism, I can tell you.
You bet.
He's definitely starting to stretch it out on Ryan Newman. Has a pretty clean racetrack in front of him.
Yep.
Kurt Busch is back out there before he's got his hands full.
He's just barely going. He would get down to the inside, but he can't.
Elon. 4 to go.
4 laps to go.
4 to go. 14 caution flags, and half a day later, we're coming around for 3 laps to go in the Pontiac. More excitement than you can stand in a day and a half, 400.
3 to go.
Sterling Marlin, our points leader, he gets underneath Joe Nemechek.
Sterling is
a battle for 11.
Got tires and
yeah.
He's going to run out of time. His problem.
But he's had the kind of day he needed for that point situation. Came in here leading by 143 points, and in second position, Kurt Busch. He's still all over the racetrack up in turn 2. 2 laps to go.
2 to go.
Pretty much a done deal now. How do we start this day off? Blue skies. Nothing but blue skies do I see.
White flag, Mike.
White flag is in the air. One more lap.
Tony Stewart has only started 7 races at Richmond International Speedway, and he's about to go to victory lane for the 3rd time here. He won at Atlanta, and if he rounds turns 3 and 4, he'll score his 2nd victory of 2002. Tony Stewart's Home Depot Pontiac wins the Pontiac Excitement 400.
Brad Newman second, Jeff Gordon third, teammate Mark Martin in 4th. Jeremy Mayfield finishes 5th, Matt Kinson 6th, Jeff Gordon 7th, Steve Grissom 8th, Ricky Craven 9th, and Jimmy Spencer comes home 10th.
Hold on and score the W.
Fact show. So, man, that was definitely a very interesting race. It was sort of a Wreckfest, definitely in the second half. What was y'all's thoughts on it, and what would y'all give it a rating of 1 to 10?
So, it may not have seemed like I liked the race, but I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. There were some points where the leaders were pulling away, but definitely an enjoyable race. I give it about an 8.5 out of 10.
Wow.
The racing, it's really interesting to see how the racing goes for 2002 compared to 2022 standards.
Yeah.
A lot of passing, a lot of crazy incidents, a lot of wrecks, a lot of drivers getting taken out in accidents. Overall, really, really strong race, and I'll give it a solid 8.9.
I agree with both y'all's statements. I mean, I don't know, but I'll give it a rating of 1 out of 10. I'll probably just give it a 7. I mean, it wasn't the greatest Richmond race, but it definitely was a good old classic, and we saw a lot of crazy moments. And it was very cool to see drivers who started all the way in the back and had problems work their way back up to the front. It was a long one, but yeah, I really hope that everyone enjoyed watching this. And yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, follow Keith and Mike. There's social media links in the description below. Before we close that video, do y'all want to see the stats and racing reference, or are y'all good? Alright, 2002. Which Tony Stewart obviously won the championship 2002, but it was race number 11 of the season. Alright, so 14 cautions, average Margin of victory is 1.4 seconds. Average speed 86 miles an hour. The race was 3 hours 27 minutes at 14 cautions. Only 13 late changes, which is actually surprising because I thought there was more than that. Newman led 48 laps. Stewart led 28. Jimmy Spencer led 75 laps. Actually got 10th, so he got by Marlin there. Grissom held on to 8th. Nemechek fell to 12th. As you'll see on the stream. Hutch Strickland was up in the top 12. He fell to 16th there. Warburton finished 30th, led 125 laps. Ricky Rudd led 90 laps, finished 39th. Dale Jarrett led 14 laps and finished 38th. To be honest with you, the race was a little long. I didn't even realize that Dale Jarrett led 14 laps. That's how long it's been.
Yeah.
Michael Watson led 3 laps. Jeff Green led 2 laps, and Bobby Hamilton led 5 laps. Average green flag run was only 19 laps. Percent of the race run under caution, 25%. So, wow. Yeah, very, very interesting race, I would say. Do y'all have any closing remarks?
No. Thanks for watching, though. Appreciate y'all watching. Make sure you subscribe to Christian and get him to 800.
Fact, Joe.
I don't have any comments either, except for get Christian at 800 subscribers by his birthday, December 14th, and things will be great. Hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast.
Yep, thank y'all so much for watching.